Alright, I suppose this is where I come in. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is DSP News, and welcome to the February edition of the Snort Report, brought to you by Snort Coffee Company, the best beverage company. Let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have 5 videos that will make up a broadcast, going with the tried and true method so far of trying to catch up in 2021. Yet again, in the last broadcast, I believe, of January, we asked for some feedback from you guys, so on and so forth. And, you know, we very much appreciate those who did it, and so on and so forth. At the time I'm recording it, this isn't actually, that broadcast isn't out yet. But, like I said, I'll just say in advance, thank you very much for any of you guys who gave any feedback and so on and so forth. Once the Snort Report becomes a bit more current, at the time though too, I'm also thinking of a new series that might be, I don't know when I'm going to start it yet, but it's really for, well, it's for everybody honestly, but it's really kind of for the FGC heads and whatnot. Give me a little bit more time to kind of think about it as we go along, but it'll have something to do with combo videos. We'll leave it at that. I think it'll be fun and whatnot. I think for a lot of you guys who are thinking about getting in the fighting games, or thinking about getting back in the fighting games, or thinking about just going over there and beasting on Phil because apparently it's free bacon over there all day. Maybe some of these type of videos would be useful, hopefully entertaining, but mainly useful, and give you guys a better idea of how you want to expand as it pertains to your FGC knowledge, or fighting game knowledge, I should say, in a way that Phil couldn't because he was too lazy, despite the fact that he had all the resources. So there you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, 5 videos that will make up our broadcast, all brought to us by Burnell. Let me go ahead and get things basically working, and I'll see you guys in a few. Yeah.
How to play the game!
To warn everyone, warning, what you may see right now is going to be absolutely disgusting. Sound good?
Alright, sounds good to me.
Number 10 is Donkey Kong 64.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, for the first video that will make up our broadcast, brought to us by Burnell, DSP, let's see, the 10 most disappointing games of 2020 for the PRCult leader. This was published on February 1st of 2021, our year of Greece. The link will be down in the description. Let's go ahead and see what's on the menu.
Ladies and gentlemen, just to start off this countdown, I am completely going against my own rule set. Because, ladies and gentlemen, Donkey Kong 64 is one of the worst fucking games I've ever played in my entire fucking life. I hate this game. You guys voted for it for a viewer's choice playthrough in 2020. It was the most suffering I think I've had playing a game in years upon years. I wanted to rip my fucking eyeballs and my eardrums out. The game plays terrible. The game looks terrible. For a collection quest that came out around the same time as other amazingly good games like Banjo-Kazooie and Super Mario 64. I can't believe how fucking bad Donkey Kong 64 is, and for the first time ever, I'm breaking my own goddamn rules in the most disappointing games of the year to say how bad this fucking game is.
This game feels like you're sitting on a cactus and spinning while the needles are ripping apart your sphincter muscles.
Oh!
Oh! That is disgusting. Disturbing and disgusting.
Number 9 most...
Now, if you guys remember that Donkey Kong playthrough, that shit was absolute gold. To watch Phil fail consistently at things was amazing. One of the things that really stood out to me, this was like all over Detractor Twitter. Kiwi Farms had it reposted a couple times. Phil had to fight one of the bosses. And it was basically like a giant foot and all these toes come out at you, right? And you have to memorize the pattern so you know when to hit and when not to. It's a very simple pattern. And he legitimately kept screwing up. He would have to die. He had to die like maybe 8 to 10 times per rhythm until mentally he finally got it, and then had to go on to the second sequence. He would have to die 8 or 10 more times until he had that sequence down and he could remember it. And then this and then that. He spent a countless amounts of time just failing at that. It was absolutely fucking amazing watching him do that and watching him fail at these small little instances. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was silly. I can't remember who's restreaming it at the time, but there was literally people in the chat that were like, okay, here's where the next sequence comes up. Phil should have it memorized down this time, and he still failed. It was hilarious, and he was getting so pissed off at it. He was getting so pissed off at it. It was so good. It was so good. But then it also made me think, so you can't memorize a sequence of events, right? That, you know, a child 30 years your senior, you know what I'm saying, could or can or do. But yet you can remember all that flowcharty bullshit though for Dazim and Street Fighter and Super Turbo? Like, how does that work? And then I started to think, well, going back to that combo video thing, let me take a look at some old combo videos and see how they played it out. And a few of the people who made them said that Dazim has like a pretty large window for certain attack strings and so on and so forth. So it opens up. It's a lot more lenient, if you will, than other characters, and so on and so forth. Like, there's room for error, but you can still kind of make up for it. And that makes sense now, just a little bit. It makes a little bit more sense that Phil would gravitate to a character who some of their attack strings or some of their sequences are a little bit more forgiving, I should say. Now, don't be wrong, not all of them. Like, you know what I'm saying? A lot of them are pretty tight. But certainly some of them are a bit easier than one would expect, which is right down Phil's alley. It makes a lot of sense. It makes a whole lot of sense. But we'll talk about that in the future as we talk about that series.
Disappointing game of 2020 for me was Demon's Souls for the PlayStation 5. The thing that really pissed me off the most about the game was that they didn't improve much of anything. There's a lot of broken things about Demon's Souls. Some wonkiness in the hitboxes, some unfairness in the balance of things in the game. And perfect example here, alright? The old monk boss fight. This is a boss fight that was unique for the time. It's not against the computer AI. It's actually against humans that get summoned from across the internet. Fine. That's absolutely fine. I like that concept. That's a good concept to me. But the original Demon's Souls was infamous because it was broken. The internet connections are terrible, and because of that, you can get away with amazingly cheap stuff. People are nowhere near you, and they hit you with backstabs.
I smell salt.
People are on the other side of the room and hit a heavy attack and hit you with it. It's completely broken. Now, this is supposed to be a remake, right? In the remake, is this not the opportunity to look at the shortcomings of the original game and improve them? Why didn't they improve the connections for those fights? And by the way, the game does have PvP as well. Personally, I didn't check it out, but I know for a fact they didn't improve it at all. It's literally the same netcode, the same terrible online connections from the original game.
The salty tears.
So it gave it a level of familiarity, essentially. It's something that you come to expect. Just like how Phil says that he's changed over the years, right? And he's a completely different person. He's more mature and so on and so forth. But at his base, he's still exactly the same. You know what I'm saying? And any changes that were made were to his deficit. But even though he tries to preach it as it was really towards his benefit and the benefit of the content, it is what it is. But more importantly, why are you still playing it? Like, why do you insist on playing those games? Because they make him money, and it does bring decent viewership. Certainly, that's the reason why he keeps playing. He won't tell you that though. He won't tell you that it was profitable. It was very profitable, but he's like, oh, why didn't they innovate? Why didn't they take this time to do this and that? And how many remakes do they ever really do? And even if they did, they'll nitpick on why. People would nitpick, not everybody, but most people would nitpick on the fact that it has lost some of its charm. And its charm is usually on some of the more buggier or glitchier aspects of it. That's what keeps the fan base together. Whatever.
Oh my god, he's drinking gin.
The number 8 most disappointing game of the year 2020 is Final Fantasy VII Remake. Here's the 2 things I really didn't like about Final Fantasy VII Remake. The first one, quite frankly, is the combat system. My major gripe with Final Fantasy VII Remake is very simple, okay? It's not a remake. It's not. This game is not a remake. They didn't remake Final Fantasy VII. What they did is they made a new game with plot elements and things taken from Final Fantasy VII. But this is not the same game.
But then doesn't that classify it as a remake if it's different than the original? It's not a remaster. Well, let him continue, I guess. I guess. It's whatever.
My number 7 most disappointing game of 2020 is Doom Eternal. My problem with Doom Eternal is that basically the game took a shift away from an interesting narrative focus that was similar to the plot lines of the previous Doom games, and really 99% of this game is running around and shooting shit. The number 6 most disappointing game of the year for me.
It's Doom. That's what it was supposed. What'd you expect? I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but I enjoyed Doom. Like it was fun. Like, you know what I'm saying? To be honest with you, the story of Doom Guy and some of the nonsense or whatever with the whole demon shit with hell or whatever was interesting. It had an interesting aspect to it and whatnot. But essentially, I get to go around and dismember people and shit. That shit was kind of fucking crazy. Well, demons and shit. That was kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? It was interesting how you could do it. His powers are okay. His powers are all right, actually. I think some of it could have been a little bit better, but it is what it was. I thought it was fun for what it was. And that's the whole point. You go around and obliterate fucking demons and shit. Like, what more did you want? Like, what more did you want? Well, did you want him to run around and say shit like the old Duke Nukem games where fuck. I don't know what he wanted. I don't know. It's like, I feel like he wanted Doom to be a lot like Duke Nukem, I guess. I don't know. Maybe. Whatever. Because he is a big Duke Nukem fan. So, I mean, like I said, it's run around and shoot. That's what you're supposed to do. You had interesting ways of doing it. I don't know. I don't even know why. I mean, he played the game, granted, because it was a hot new release and there was a lot of hype over it. But like most of these games, and as you've progressively seen him go through this shit over the years, he's just, you can tell he's not excited with any of it. And so if that's the case, then just you're the one that's supposed to be the king of retro. You're the one that's wearing a fucking an older Stone Cold Steve Austin shirt. Maybe not older. It's certainly a play off an older design. Just if you're the king of retro, play the retro games then. Go ahead and actually play the old Doom games and show why it doesn't measure up to the new stuff. He has the time to do it, and he used to kind of sort of do comparisons like that. So just do that then, if you will. But you're playing these new games merely for the hype, and a lot of these playthroughs fall flat on YouTube, which is really all he's kind of doing it for. And he doesn't understand why, because he thinks it's a hot new release. But it doesn't matter if the content creator who's putting the content out is garbage at it. It's stupid. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're working against yourself. And then the people on Twitch, yeah, you may get like a couple of large pops for a few streams, but then after all that, it gets reduced down to the same old people who are going to watch it anyway. So you're still not bringing any new people in. Matter of fact, the few new people that you do bring in, you're actually running them off, and you don't even realize it. Or he does realize it, and he's just showing his frustration over it. He's an old man complaining why games of the past are being remade in such a way that he can't get into, or he can't understand, or he can't enjoy. Sorry. That's really all this list is, at least so far. And it wasn't like he was any better at any of the originals. You know what I mean? So what's the point?
It's Watch Dogs Legion. The story itself was not very interesting at all, sadly. The drones are 100% the most effective way. He's being so cute, he's snuggling my foot and licking it. The drones are 100% the most effective way to go about playing this game. Alright? And that's fine if you realize that's the whole game. Like, you don't ever need the other classes. There's a class that's good at fighting, you never need it. There's a class that's good at gunplay, you never need it. The drones are the best thing in the game, and they're incredibly unbalanced and overpowered. If you just have a team of all drone people, you beat the whole game easily. So, there's other ways to play it, but you're actually hindering your own experience by not using the drones. So, the game is piss easy. The game is too long, by the way. The game is incredibly long and drawn out. It's like, I think my playthrough was around 30 hours, if I remember correctly. Maybe even a little bit longer, and it just felt like a lot of the things in the game were just padding, and the plot is not very good. Mostly because you don't have any characters. It's all disposable archetypes at any point, so if you don't have characters, why would you even care about them? And the answer is, you don't.
I do what I want.
But you're countering your own point, though. You're saying that drones are piss easy, and you're putting yourself at a disadvantage by not using them. Well, if you want to actually get the full experience, then you want to play through the other classes. And should any of us be surprised that Phil would go ahead and take the path of least resistance by going with what would be considered, in air quotes, the most overpowered class? So he's kind of shitting on his own point in a lot of ways. Oh, there's nothing to the game because if you use the drones, everything's piss-ass easy. And if you choose any of the other classes, you're fucking yourself over because you should just use the drone class because it's piss-ass easy. But then there's nothing to the game. Well, yeah, there's nothing to the game because there's no struggle to it. And like you said, it's piss-ass easy. Even though he says the game is too long because his playthroughs are like 30 hours. How many times did you fail to bring it out to 30 hours? Which is another thing, too, that Phil has done over the years that he's proud of for whatever reason, but it sounds absolutely silly when you think about it in practice. That you sat there and failed at a game that could have been done or been beaten in like 15 hours. Just throwing that out there. I don't know how long Watch Dogs Legion would have taken, but just roll with me on this one for a second. So it could, let's say it takes you 15 hours to beat a game. All the content, side quests, all that shit. Let's say 15 to 20 hours. It took you 30 hours and you cheesed through it. Does that not tell you something innately? It should, but for him it don't. And it's because of that assholes like me call him a fucking failure. You sunk 30 hours into something that you could have had done in 15 and gotten more out of it. You could have experienced more. The same experience that you said is lacking because you wanted to cheese the game out because, yet again, he's trying so fucking hard to either make the playthroughs boring or to cheat at it so he can keep "this is how you don't" plays at bay. He's screwing up his own gaming experiences at times just so he can try to continue fighting off "this is how you don't play." That's amazing. We're literally creating enemies where enemies don't exist. You're going to fail either which way. You're going to have shitty moments in playthroughs. That's inevitable. You can't hide that. You can't fix that. You can't cheat that. But then you want to take the extra step of dragging a playthrough out in the hopes that no one will go through it, that no one has that shit timestamped somewhere, right? To make it so mundane that no one would care. And yet you still lose at that. At the end of the day, as long as people like The Outsider continue to want to keep doing this, big ups to Outsider, they will. End of story. You can't stop that. You couldn't stop it the first time with Evil AJ. What makes you think you'll stop it now? And you're only hurting yourself in the process. And for what? For some petty vendetta over some shit that you tried to stomp out years ago and you failed at miserably. because you are a failure. But no. Let me get rid of these guys to make myself look like less of a failure. And to prove that I deserve to be here. Doing what? Playing games that you're miserable, that, you know what I'm saying, that not only you're miserable at, but make you miserable to sit down and play. This is what happens, ladies and gentlemen, when you try to take the easy way out. Instead of, oh, I don't know, putting your fucking time in like other people. And that's what it came down to. Because ever since 2015, when he deleted all those videos and fucked himself out of the search engine, he's been spending years to try to get himself back in position, because this was the scam, just in case you guys don't know. The actual scam was Phil flooding the system for years and then coasting his way out on ad revenue. That was supposed to be the scheme. And yet when 2015 happened and he overreacted, because that's what happened, and he overreacted and sat there and deleted hundreds of videos, fucking himself out of millions of views, and then completely booting himself out of the search engine, he never was able to recover. And even if he was able to do double the amount to get himself back in position, he wouldn't, because as soon as he got kicked out of the search engine, other people moved up. And those people had the views and they may have not have had the consistency of how he spams his fucking videos, but they had the views, and the views will almost always trump the amount of videos that you put out. If you have 10 videos that can get 1 million views, it will trump someone who puts out 100 videos that get, you know, like 100,000 views or whatever the case may be. Like, you know what I'm saying? It'll always win like that. It'll always be a quality over quantity type situation, if you will. And he never understood that. But he was in the algorithm early enough to where he still had an edge. But then once his blade dulled, not to say that it was actually sharp anyway, but once his blade started to really dull and people went on to see other people, it only put him at more and more of a deficit. And that right there, that analogy is even before the detractors, trolls, haters, and critics came along. You know what I'm saying? That's theoretically even before Slow Beef showed up.
Stare at man ass. Jasper, that's it. You're out of here. You're out of here. You can't eat the wires. Jasper, come here. Come here. You're out of here. Oh my God. It's terrible.
Yeah, he was probably trying to get the taste of pig hoof out of his mouth. So, you know what I'm saying? If electrocution, if a temporary shock had to be the remedy, then that had to be the remedy. Jesus Christ.
Say goodbye, Jasper Kitty. Say goodbye, because you're a bad kitty. Say goodbye. We'll see you later tonight, all right? We'll see you later tonight. Okay. Sorry. He's rolling around on the rug now in the hallway. It's one thing if he wants to play around and lick my toes. It's another thing if he wants to bite the wires and he's going to get electrocuted. I can't have him get hurt, so he's got to get out of here for now.
And licking your hooves wasn't dangerous enough? You barely bathe. I can only imagine what kind of funguses and bacteria that's on the surface of your skin. Oh, hurtful. Just hurtful.
Number 5. Most disappointing game of 2020 is Marvel's Avengers.
Oh my God, he's drinking gin.
Come to find out, though, that gameplay demo of it that was released was actually not representative of the game. That gameplay demo that they released during the summer of 2020, or the fall, I think it was actually the intro segment of the game, which had a bunch of cinematic gameplay, quick time events, and things in it, a boss fight. Most of the game doesn't have that. Most of the game, it's literally what you're seeing right now on the screen. You're running around, you're fighting 1 million generic enemies, you're mashing buttons, and yes, I mean that, you're mashing buttons.
Me, I sit on my ass all day, but that's my job. My job is actually to sit on my ass.
My number 4.
But people had said that before the game even came out. Like, a lot, like that's not some big revelation. You know what I'm saying? He's not incorrect. What I'm saying is that stuff had been said before the game even dropped. So that's not some big thing. And I honestly think, because it was all over Twitter, he walked into that knowing that, and he still wanted to play it anyway because he thought it would bring in quick bucks. So I don't know why he's disappointed about a game that people had already foreseen it to be bad. Womp womp.
Most disappointing game of 2020 is WWE 2K Battlegrounds. The game gets incredibly boring after only about an hour of playing it. And it actually does, it starts getting ridiculously over the top, challenging around 4 to 5 hours in, to the point where it's not fun to play anymore. It's just actually incredibly broken. The number 3 most disappointing game 2020.
Yeah, he's right about that too. I mean, yet again, like progressively, WWE games have been getting worse over the years. So this was no different. We didn't actually get a true WWE game, so they gave us the cartoony shit instead. I thought it was kind of funny to watch. I've seen a couple of people stream it, but yeah, it's a pretty shitty game. It's a pretty shitty game. It's fun. I think if you take it in for what it is, then it is what it is. But there are some pretty shitty aspects at it. But it don't matter because he's still funneling all his money into WWE champions, so WWE is winning no matter what. Womp womp.
For me was Deadly Premonition 2, and I don't even know if I have to say anything. Just look at your screen right now. But the thing that gets me is this game was specifically designed to only run on the Switch. Okay? And this is the end result of it. This was sold like this, and somehow it was believed that this was an acceptable version of the game to sell.
Oh my god, he's drinking gin.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's The Last of Us 2. There's a major reason why this game is on my most disappointing games of the year list, alright? And the primary reason is because I did not like the plot of the game. Sex scenes. This game has numerous sex scenes that are completely superfluous to the game. They don't need to be in there. They add nothing. They make you cringe and groan that the fact that they're in there. The worst fucking story I've seen in a game in like 5 to 10 years. Seriously. It's just so over-the-top, cliche, boring. And I hate to say it, so many people like it. It's because people like simple shit. Oh, give me the revenge plot line. It's fucking so bad.
Is that me?
Okay. Deadly Premonition, I don't have anything to say for that. So, you know, it is what it is on that one. Let's be honest, he's just on that hate train that Last of Us 2 has been propagating. Don't get me wrong, the story's shit. It's really, really bad. But even then, he's more bothered by the sex scenes than anything. And he always was, essentially. He was always really pissed off by the sex scenes more than anything else. And to anybody out there who knows anything about anything, once people found out that Anita was part of this, was advising in some way, shape, or form on this project, you guys should have known this shit was going to go to hell. And then when the leaks went out that Joel was going to get killed, it was like, oh, well, that's a rip. I mean, that's the end of that. That's kind of like the heart and soul of the series. You know what I'm saying? And that's, I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. I think it's just more bandwagon hate for the sake of it, which is funny because he criticizes other people to doing that to him, yet he does it for everything and everybody else. But, I mean, it is what it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I personally think that should be, like, just finish, this is the end of the series. It's just the 2 games and that's it. Don't give us a pre-sequel, because that's no point. The HBO shit is probably going to end, if it even gets made, that shit's going to get fizzled out fucking quick unless, you know, shit really, really, really works out. You know, like, shit really has to come together to make that a thing. And Lord knows, after what happened with Game of Thrones, that you don't want to, at least those last couple seasons, you definitely don't want, I don't know. I think I'm done with it. As far as I'm concerned, it's the first game and that's it. Everything else never existed in my eyes. Like Boruto right now. Like Boruto doesn't exist to me. That shit's not canon. Fuck that series. That shit is horrible. That shit is so fucking horrible. For any of you guys who watch anime or read manga, you know what I'm talking about. So, that's the way I look at it. But at the end of the day, though, too, I'm not going to condemn people if they like it. You know what I'm saying? If you like Last of Us 2, then cool. End of story. But for me, that shit was a write-off. That shit was an absolute fucking write-off. They had a fucking gold mine with this series, and they let it go to shit for no fucking reason. But in truth, and I'll try to be brief, and I will legitimately try to be brief, though I won't probably be brief. They should have left it at the first game. We didn't need a second one. We really didn't. We didn't need a second game. We should have left it at that, and then they just move on to something else. especially when you have a game that was going to be focused on multiple different people anyway. We should have just, if they wanted to expand the world, but we just leave Ellie and Joel where they're at, and we just move on to someone else, and they call it something else, then so be it. But don't, like I said, the series is dead to me, as far as I'm concerned.
That's the problem? No. That's the internet. That's the dumb fucks of the internet.
The game is, of course, Cyberpunk 2077. This is no shock to anyone. The game that was the most overhyped game of probably, arguably, the last 5 to 10 years. The game that was the next major IP from CD Projekt Red, a studio that at one point was seen they could
Stop
do
fucking
no
with
wrong.
your hair. It's going to fall out anyway. I'm going to cut in on this early. An Asian GTG knows I'm right. I said that shit was going to be a clusterfuck way before that bitch came out. Not necessarily for the reasons that it ended up being a clusterfuck. And not even because it was overhyped. It was too much to promise. It was just way too much to promise. I was just like, yeah, they're not going to be able to come through on all that. They're just not going to. Not in the time frame they're talking about. That's just not going to happen. Not at all. Like, they were definitely over-promising on shit. And that, I don't know, I just had like a bad feeling, just that it was like, yo, that's not going to work out the way it is, the way people were hoping that it was. It just wasn't going to. And that's not from any type of, insider information or some type of, I guess, external insight or anything. It just didn't. I just felt like it wasn't going to come together the way people were hoping it was going to, and it didn't. And to be honest with you, I'm actually kind of sad for it in a lot of ways, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of people that were disappointed with it, because you were supposed to be able to do so much, and it was supposed to be this completely open, interactive world, and it had all the limitations, or for at least once we saw more and more of it, it had all the limitations that all games do, to some extent. At the end of the day, there's always going to be invisible walls. At the end of the day, there's always going to be restrictions and barriers and shit. At the end of the day, there's always going to be NPCs that you cannot interact with and have unique conversations with and all that bullshit. It was what it was. You know what I'm saying? It is what it was. So, not that I'm trying to rub that in and say I got you to a certain individual. I'm just saying that it was just going to happen. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. It's all, and when it comes to the gaming industry, it's all hype beast mentality anyway. And Phil is one of these people who bitches and complains about how people overhype games on the internet and so on and so forth, and it's bullshit and it's dishonest, and yet he falls for the same traps and or he participates in the same practices as everybody else. You're a fucking hypocrite for that. You're a fucking hypocrite for that. But he don't see it that way, because he broke and everybody else is rich and successful.
Right? So many glitches and bugs and issues with this game. But even if you can ignore or forgive all of those bugs and say it's just unfinished, it was rushed, that's management's fault, the gameplay aspects that were promised to you aren't present in the game. This game is not open world and robust. In the world, almost everything's closed off. There's a ridiculous amount of doors that are closed and there's nothing behind them. It's just a mess. That's really the best way to describe the game. It's a fucking mess. But also, the whole Cyberpunk plotline at its core has a lot of sexual themes. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with sexual themes. I'm not. But this game, at every fucking moment, has sexual themes shoved down your throat. The 57th time you're driving down the street and you see the billboard of the giant android ass gyrating in a dude's face, and he's going this as the fucking ass is gyrating in his face. You're like, oh my god, like, I'm tired of this. I understand. It's a sexualized society. Sex is a commodity to be bought and sold. I get that. Do I need to see it every possible second? No, you get desensitized to it. You get annoyed. It gets annoying because there's so much of it in the game. This game made headlines for being the video game with the most dildos in it. The most disappointing game of 2020 for me.
Now keep in mind, this is the same guy who gets pissed off that he didn't get that 14-inch cardboard penis that was allegedly sent to him. Keep that in mind. So his outrage is a little bit more deep-seated. But then this snorty Cold War that he has against sexuality is kind of weird too. I don't know. I don't know. It just seems kind of odd. But then, doesn't Mr. Huffstuff have like a new video out or something? And maybe Ann Lee, he might have one out too. I don't know. I'll have to look, because I know there's like some clip about Phil trying to like explain sex or some shit, or how uncomfortable he is. Can't wait to go over that.
2077.
Fool's a buffoon. Every single time I boot the game now, I'm drunk. I'm a cult leader. There's still this back here. And it's still in the back of my neck, the back of my head, the back of my mind, and it's always telling me it's WWE Champions time. I love it. I love it. Is a mobile game addict.
His list is what it is. It's I mean, it's kind of expected. It's a lot of that shit is really what you just see on Twitter. So I didn't expect him to be too much of his own man or go off on his own and shit. He was gonna go ahead and stick to what is consistent to the gaming, to the current gaming atmosphere anyway. So I guess I'm not too surprised by that. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that's our first video. We'll go to a small music break, and I'll see you guys for the second one as we can start our journey. I should say, not even continue, but start our journey into February of 2021. I'll see you guys in a second. Oh, never seen someone so outraged by a sex scene. It just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense.
See right now is going to be absolutely disgusting. Sound good?
Alright, sounds good to me.
I've gotten some people who've contacted me and basically said that they're looking
I'm sure you have. Hopefully they're not all in your head. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here with the second video that will make up our broadcast, brought to us by Burnell, DSP. The cult doesn't want more rage quits in Call of Duty or COD. What the fuck is penne sauce? What the fuck is penne sauce? An ungrateful pig roach. This was also published on February 1st of 2021. The link will be down in the description. Oh boy. Oh boy. Now the question is, are we talking about his own personal penne sauce that all those kids were sadly what's the word I'm looking for? There's so many to choose from. Sadly disfigured with when he went ahead and had his incident, or are we talking about the Burnell family penne sauce that's just full of sugar and is essentially closer to Kool-Aid than sauce? The world may never know. Here we go.
frustrated with me. All right. So when people tell me that, I want to be honest with all of you and respond.
Actually, now I think about it, the word I probably should have used was like traumatized. I guess traumatized would have worked, but mentally, I think being mentally disfigured by watching Phil basically pull on his own personal penne is probably more fitting. I don't know. We'll see.
Frustrated because when I've been playing this game, basically when I get a really bad connection, which has happened, I'd say about 40% of the time, honestly, that I rage quit the matches. And they're upset about that. They're like, Phil, you didn't used to do that. You didn't used to rage quit. You used to just tough it out and play the match to the end because you always said you didn't care about your kill-death ratio. And so we don't understand what changed that now you rage quit these matches. What's the big deal about it, right? Truth is, there is no big deal. I really, honestly, don't care about my kill-death ratio. I just don't.
This guy is...
Then wait a second. Then why are you playing? Because the only two things that you should give a shit about if you're playing Call of Duty or any first-person shooter, to be honest with you, is either your KD, your kill-death, or your win-loss. Period. And his win-loss is... Actually, it might be surprisingly reasonable now that I think about it. maybe, because I don't know if you actually take a hit. I don't know if you get an automatic loss if you rage quit a match. You might. You might, but I don't know. Ooh, excuse me. So don't hold me to that. As it pertains to his kill death ratio, I wouldn't be surprised if he's close to like a 0.1 or a 1.0 KD. He's probably not over that. To be honest, I would assume his kill def isn't as bad as we would assume. You know what I'm saying? Despite the fact, all the failure we've seen, it has to be pretty close to a 1.0 KD. I would assume it's definitely not over that. If it was, I'd be surprised. I have to think about that.
Percent a pathological liar and a sociopath.
It's really not a big deal at all. In any way, it doesn't affect me. I'm not ranking myself against other players worldwide. I don't give a shit. But admittedly, it is quite freaking frustrating. Quite frustrating that this game has such inconsistent connections. And let's say, for example, I start a match in the middle of the match. Alright? The middle of the fucking match. And the match already, like, it's a losing match. Why are we down 100 points in a domination match and I'm starting in the middle of the fucking match? And then on top of that, the match is lagging
because someone like you rage quitted out prior to that. And yet again, what he's saying doesn't make sense. You're playing a competitive shooter, but I'm not trying to compete with other people who are playing this game, but I'm pissed off about connections. Which, if the connections were to his liking, he would perform better, i.e. his record would be better. Does he not see the correlation between all of that? No? Okay.
Someone right in front of me, I shoot them 7-8 times. The bullets don't register. Yet, they insta-kill me easily. Right? This is incredibly frustrating. Okay?
It's always the game's fault. I'm a perfect human, of course. Completely flawless. I never make mistakes. Okay.
Playing in a match that's incredibly laggy, where nothing is counting. What is the point? What is the point of that? It's not fun. It's frustrating as shit. I just don't understand why people would want to see that. But apparently I'm being told some people do. They want to see that. They want to see me lag it out. I mean, okay, if they really, again, I'll give you what you want if that's what you want. I just don't think that, I don't feel that's actually what people want. It's just that I never really rage quit in a game before.
Fuck you.
Wait, well, we all know that's bullshit, but let's get this straight. People don't want to see me rage out. They want to see me basically keep torturing myself through this lag and all the inconsistencies with the connection or whatever. I don't think that's what you people really want, but this is what you people keep telling me, so I'm going to give you guys what you want. Even though he's playing this twice a week, and he knows, because he bitches about it twice a week, what he's in for, and yet he continues to keep doing it. Well, okay, Phil, if they don't want to see all of the bugginess of the Call of Duty mechanics, then what the fuck do they want to see? Divinity Original Sin 2? I would think that's what the situation is. They paid for it. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, it's not like he's playing that as like a chill playthrough or something. He was already paid. They're not paying for him to play it. They've already paid him to play it. There's that. But we're not doing that, are we? We're sitting here playing Call of Duty twice a week, bitching and complaining about dumb shit, right? And then he has the nerve to turn around and say, oh, well, this is not what you guys really want, despite the fact you guys tell me this is what you guys really want. It's almost like a pathetic type of foil to try to distract people from not... It's almost like let me reword that. It's definitely a foil to try to keep people distracted so he didn't have to play Divinity Original Sin 2. Because even though he's already been paid for it, he never even purchased the game. It'd be different if he had already purchased the game, it's on his console, and then he can start it whenever. He didn't even buy it yet. But yet, he certainly, ladies and gentlemen, that money's already been spent on whatever whatever situation that WWE Champions has, or whatever phantom tax bill or whatever he says he has floating out there in the wings. Just to put that into perspective. Womp womp.
Liar.
And so because I have rage quit a bunch in this one, they're like, wow, they're jarred. They're thrown, oh man. You know, and let's be honest, also, I think some people like to see me suffer, right? I think they do. I think some people really like to see me have pain. Don't ask me why. I think that's fucked up. People want to see me suffer, but I think some people do. And
but
so,
isn't this the same tard that had a Rageathon? To have people pay him money to do a marathon where he rages at games so they could give him even more money at his discomfort or at his physical, what he's making it sound like, his physical pain? Oh, but that was different though, right? Because we were trying to get the money together to pay for my taxes and pay for all these behind the scene bills, right? It was a different era back then, right? Now it's tax issues, and then what is it now? We got tax issues, we have phantom bills, we have chargebacks. Never mind, it sounds like how it's always been, to be honest with you. Same ebb and flow, same depth and style.
Yes, match that's running like shit. Now Phil will Phil will freak out at this, and it will be hilarious. Oh yeah, very hilarious, right?
I love CBT.
In general, it's not going to be fun to watch because it's going to be can't get a kill, can't get a kill, can't get a kill, can't get a kill. But if that's what you want, I'll give it to you.
Dark side, fill the lol cow.
Lol cow. Please tip me. That is the best way you can contribute. Tipping me right now are funds that I get immediately and I can put towards these important things. I mean, I was basically making my laundry list of bills I have to pay between now and the middle of the month, and I'm like, oh my god, there's like at least 5 to 6 of them, and it's all based on tips. What tips I raise on everyday streams. So I hope I make enough, to make do. It sucks. It's just a very tight time of the year for me. It always is, and there's not much you can do about it. It always happens. So,
Give me your money. Yes, do it now. Do it now.
He has 5 or 6 bills from the 1st to the 15th. Like what? You got what? You got 5 or 6 bills that are all due between the 1st and the 15th. None of them are credit cards, obviously. If it would be considered like his electricity, then the cable bill, which theoretically he doesn't have a cable bill. He has the internet bill, I should say. So you think essentially his electric bill, his internet bill, the mortgage, the homeowners association dues, a car payment. There's no way all of that is due by the 15th, though. That just sounds kind of ridiculous. It's kind of ridiculous. Like, there's no way that he set it up in such a way to where he would allow that to happen, especially knowing damn well that he does something that's so inconsistent that he could literally fuck himself over. Or there's no way he's such an ignorant bastard that he wouldn't know that he can actually change his due dates on stuff. That just doesn't make any sense. And especially given how volatile what he does is, if you will, or the nature of his business is, I should say. Yeah, there's just it's not. No, he's a fucking idiot. I won't even call him a liar, but I'll say he's a fucking idiot. He knows damn well that he should be spreading that shit out. Certainly. And there's no way that just with his tips in like 5 or 6 days, if he hits the stream goal each and every day, of course, or each and every stream, he couldn't cover 3 or 4 bills just off that. Like, that's definitely the electric bill, the cable bill, and probably the car payment. If he can hit, 5 or 6 5 or 6 stream goals. That's done easy. And that's before the Twitch money comes in, by the way. And so when the Twitch money comes in, that would be the mortgage and the homeowners association. What else does he have? He doesn't have any credit cards. He doesn't have any loans to worry about anymore. And I mean, granted, yeah, there's insurance and other things, but he could have Cat float him on that until, until he gets paid, and then he can pay her back. And then we know he goes grocery shopping apparently every Tuesday. Something to think about.
Thank you in advance to anyone who contributes in any way, but if you are going to contribute today, I would please urge you, please tip me if you can. It would be great if we hit the tips goal today. Yesterday, we didn't hit the tips goal at all on either stream, and it was frustrating because I really felt that I put out a great stream, that late stream in particular with the countdown. People were saying they loved it, and the tips were very low, and I'm like, damn, and people were cheering, and people were subbing. I'm like, that's great, but right now, I need the help with tips. I would prefer, if you could forego cheering or subbing to tip me right now, that would help me more. And I
but
need
it wouldn't,
that help,
though,
so I'm just...
because you would... but it wouldn't, because when your Twitch paycheck comes in, and if it's lower than what you would be expecting, then you'd be in even more of a deficit. So then you would definitely need them to hit the tips goal from the 15th, basically all the way to the 15th of the following month, just to make up for your Twitch paycheck being shit. You see how this endless cycle of begging works and whatnot? In either way, in a very odd, pathetic sort of way, he still somehow wins, basically. Like we're always destitute. Like we're always broke. Like we're always on the verge of losing our house, no matter what the circumstances were. And this is what people were saying before he even won the bankruptcy, that even if he did win it, it doesn't matter because he's still going to cry poor. And that's exactly what he's doing. And so outside of that the mid-first situation, which he swears to God doesn't actually exist, he's just waiting for them to finally take the condo off his hands because he doesn't owe them anything and he won't owe them anything, he's fine, despite the fact that he says he still has to pay the homeowner association or the HMO thing over there, and he probably still has to pay property tax too. Because I remember James pointing that out, James the Lesser, pointing that out years and years ago, that he owed like $2,000 a year on that. Or maybe it was $2,000 a year counting both his properties. I can't remember now. But it was quite a bit. So there's that. And more importantly, and I think I've already said this, if he can make he certainly can make all these payments now that the credit cards are gone and all the loans. So how would he not be able to pay mid-first back when he's in a better position now than he was back then to actually make those payments, when before the bankruptcy he was barely making payments, but he was still making payments, if that makes sense. Like, this guy was still able to make his mortgage payment on the Connecticut condo before the bankruptcy came about. Now he's gotten the bankruptcy. Now all of that shit is pushed off the board. All of it's clean and clear. How can he not continue to pay for that condo? And he's still paying, yet again, the HMO. He's still paying, I would assume he's still paying the property tax, right? So what's actually at his deficit? Like, what reason can he really justify to the courts that, oh, I can't pay this anymore? Actually, I wonder if that'll ever come down to being a factor, because now if you really think about it, the bankruptcy was kind of the worst thing that happened to him, because now any other creditor that's still on the chess board can still be like, yeah, he owes us, and now he can pay us. So just make him pay us. I mean, they're not going to grant him another bankruptcy, right?
Just trying to emphasize today, if you guys are going to contribute, please tip me, all right?
Oh, don't tell me how to give you my money.
Retro Jim did 100 bit share. He says, will you dip the pizza in penne sauce as well? No, there's no such thing as penne sauce. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. There's a thing called like pizza or pasta sauce. There's no such thing as penne sauce. So don't be stupid. Okay. I guess some really dumb things that get said here with these cheers, don't I? I mean, what the fuck are you talking about? What the fuck is penne sauce? Anyway.
Get me that banana. I need banana, tasty banana. Put banana in my mouth. Squeeze the peel, it comes in. Squeeze banana.
That would have been a good joke for him to insert Cat into, but, well, we know why Cat wasn't inserted into that situation. In more ways than one.
Tip me. I need help with tips for the next 2 weeks. This is not me joking. This is the truth. I need help with tips for the next 2 weeks.
Really, if you want to help, that's the way to go about it. Alright? Speaking directly to people who have just cheered a lot on the stream, who apparently are not listening. Alright? So, trying to be as matter of fact and straightforward as possible here. I really need the help with tips right now.
All right, it's pure greed and theft. It's illegal. This guy is a thief.
DSP buys GameStop stock, says, come on, my God, we know you need money to pay your bills. That sounded ungrateful when you said people aren't listening when they're cheering and not tipping. No, it didn't sound ungrateful. It was matter of fact. If someone's sitting here and I say, hey, guys, I need help with tips a lot right now, and someone's just sitting here cheering. It's like, you know, that's great. It's going to help you long term. The problem is, I'm not going to be able to pay anything short term, and then by the time that I get any support from that, it won't be worth it anymore. Because I'll be so behind on it.
But it won't be worth it anymore. Okay, give me money through cheers and subs, right? And I appreciate and everything, but by the time I'm really going to need it, it won't mean nothing anymore. Wow, it's almost like he is just the greedy, ungrateful motherfucker who wants to use tips to, quote unquote, pay all of his bills. And then when his Twitch paycheck comes in, he can go ahead and splurge that on whatever the fuck he wants because he has everybody conditioned to just give him tips. And he can use that. It's funny. It's amazing how if that was actually a thing. Let me bleed you guys for, I don't know, $5,000 a month in tips. So when my $5,000 to $10,000 Twitch paycheck shows up, let's say between, I think it usually averages between $8,000 and $10,000. So let's say between $8,000 and $10,000 dollars, and my Twitch paycheck shows up. Oh, this is all free money, guys. But I won't tell you guys that. I'm just gonna go ahead and spend it on stuff over here and whatnot. So don't pay any attention to me being on my phone for long periods of time or my breaks where I'm supposed to be just filling up my little sippy cup or just taking a piss. It comes across a lot longer than it should. And don't let people like is it like any of those guys on Detractor Twitter or on Kiwi Farms, because there's a couple of names I was looking for in particular, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. I think one of them is TJ Gamebox, and then the other guy is it DT9494 on Kiwi Farms, who essentially blew the lid off all of this for the most part. Don't pay attention to any of them tracking my spending habits that coincide with my breaks, right, or points of my days off, and that coincide with large events that happen on WWE Champions, which apparently happens all the fucking time. Like, WWE Champions is probably one of the worst things to be addicted to because they're running multiple events, it looks like daily, if certainly not weekly. And Phil wants to be in all of that, right? Allegedly. And I guess he's moving up the ranks of his newest clan or guild or whatever. So he needs to be there for all of that. So I assume his Discord is popping off, or the Discord that he's in is popping off pretty heavily. But ignore all of that. Ignore all of that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Those subs and those bits that you give me, you're fucking assholes. And that's just not going to help me. Right? So make sure you just always tip me. Oh, that's right. If you guys are going to tip me, I need you guys to verify what? A mailing address or some silly shit? I need you to verify. I basically need you to dox yourself so you guys can give me money. And why do I need you guys to dox me to give me, so you guys can give me your money? Oh, so this way, if you guys try to charge it back, I'm guaranteed to win, which he's not. It just puts other people in compromising situations for no reason. It's safer to just give him bits or subs. It's just safer, which is weird saying anything in Goutopia is safe, but it seems like to be the path of least resistance. Tipping him has become a hassle in such a way that it's just not worthwhile. It's more entertaining to bleed him out day by day. Oh well.
Everything. You understand? Like, it's not rocket science. It's very simple logic. But sadly, some people just like to twist everything I say into something that it's not. And so, of course, idiots will spin it and say, oh, it's ungrateful that Phil would say, fuck off. Alright? So sincerely, I mean that, fuck off. Okay.
Unleash the beast. Toxic. Oh.
Alright, everyone, I'm back. Let's get started here with Call of Duty. Now, again, this is a test. People had asked me to do this as an early stream. That is why I'm doing it as the early stream. Normally, I would not do it as the early stream, but people particularly said, I want to see you play Call of Duty during the daytime. I don't get to see you play it at night. I'd like to support a stream of you playing it early, so there you go. Please, if you've been waiting for this...
Wait. That's only a half-truth, though, because wasn't Call of Duty on the chopping block for a little while? And he said that, hey, if you guys really love Call of Duty and you really want to support it, we're going to, I think this is on a Sunday, if I remember correctly. We're going to do a day stream of Call of Duty on Sunday, and you guys really need to come out and support, because if not, I'm going to either cut it back or cut it back to just one stream, or I'm just going to cut it off altogether. Matter of fact, give me a second. Let me see if I can verify that. Let's see here. Okay, right here. It was a Snort Burnell video. Was on the 29th of January. Let's see. DSP, you decide the future of Call of Duty this Sunday. Yeah, this is right around the time he was talking about rage quitting it because of the lack of money. Yeah, so he's out and out lying. Yes, people asked him to play it during the day, but he was going to put this shit on the chopping block anyway. Like, it was already there essentially. And if you're going to play Call of Duty twice a week anyway, why weren't you having a day stream? He did that on purpose, and it came back to bite his ass. And that's the only reason why he conceded to, not really their threats, but that's the only reason why he conceded to, essentially, to their whims at this particular point, because he had no choice. He essentially had no choice, because he sat there and bled the cult. I almost called him the clan. That's funny, even though it's fitting. He bled the cult too long. All right.
Please support the stream. Again, I need help with tips more than anything right now. Like, if you have the option, just don't cheer or sub, tip me if you can. I need help with that, alright?
You even bake for money.
And wait a second. Now that I think about it, we have the sacrifice filled to the salt. I was thinking of when Josh Moon said that, remember what he said about, what's my dude's name? Ethan Ralph. Of the Ralph retort, when he said we have to sacrifice him to the corn. It's still being sacrificed to the salt. But anyhow, it's pretty funny though. Same concept though with this essentially. Like he really just didn't have any other options. He really didn't. And then more importantly, he's cutting Twitch out of their piece, because doesn't Twitch get a piece of bits and their cut of subs? So by him sitting there saying, "Tip me, don't do this, don't do that," he's cutting them out of their money. But then again, I guess you could say, well, when he does the sub goal every other month or every 2 months or whatever, that's Twitch getting their piece. Because I've heard people talk about that too. Well, because at the end of the day, his overlords at Twitch are going to eat regardless, just not off tips. So he's kind of walking a tightrope on that one.
Okay, even though I just spawned, just ran straight on my map to the room, just killed from behind immediately. Okay. What the fuck? Are you shitting me? I just spawned. I didn't even take 10 steps. Immediately murdered. Okay.
Losing Charlie.
I really gotta get used to this. Did you see how he moved? He was sliding around on the ground. There was no actual realistic movement. He was just skidding all over the place. I just spawned. The guy had a line of sight to me and insta-killed me. Oh my god, yeah, this is a really bad game right now. It is. It's a really bad game. Bad connection, bad spawns. Everything's bad.
I'm just overall pretty good at all kinds of different games. You want to know the truth? I'm probably one of the best overall WWE champions gamers in the country.
We're up to $9 in tips so far today. Thank you guys. And again, guys, if you guys can help me out and you want to support today, please tip me. I really need the help with tips for the next 2 weeks till I get paid by Twitch. I'm going to keep saying this so people get the picture. I do appreciate all contributions, but cheering and subbing is kind of a moot point right now when I need tips to keep going for 2 weeks, okay? Thank you guys.
God damn it. Did you see that? Wait a minute. Did you see that? He fired the bullet, there was a big delay, then I died when I was behind cover. You saw that, right? It should have been as soon as you heard the rifle, I died. Instead, when you heard the rifle, I backed behind cover, then I died because of massive delay. That's terrible.
Some idiot just said, oh, but kill death ratio doesn't matter, right? It doesn't. In team deathmatch, it does, stupid. There's a difference between fucking domination and team deathmatch, you moron. Boy, you're dumb. This is the game mode where it absolutely does count. You absolutely need to have a good kill death ratio in team deathmatch. That's the point. In domination, not at all. It doesn't matter in the slightest. You need to fucking have those objectives.
That's not being toxic. That's being
actually
smart.
it is. Well, here's the thing. When people usually talk about their kill death ratio, they're talking about their own personal records and whatnot. They're not actually talking about the objective of a game mode. That's him skew. So that's obviously Phil trying to hit a dude with pignosis to kind of skew the truth. Yes, the more times you die in a team deathmatch, you're going to, or in kill confirm, you're going to hinder your team's progression. Certainly. But same thing can happen to you in domination, because if all you're doing is fucking feeding the team kills, then guess what? The motherfuckers are going to get their streaks and they're going to rain down even more kills on you. Same concept. I'm surprised he didn't realize how he kind of button pinched himself there with that. But that's the first thing. Secondly, you're shit anyway. You just saw him get killed, run out without checking corners, without really observing his line of sight, and just getting plucked off anyway. So, in actuality, you're going to just feed the other team kills anyway. That's essentially what people like Phil do. So what the fuck do you care about the objective? More importantly, if you know you're that bad, or, let's go back into pignosis, you know that the game is so bad, right, and it's going to put you at such a disadvantage, what the hell are you doing playing team deathmatch in the first place? Why aren't you playing, like, domination? Where you have a better chance, essentially. It's going to be it's going to be a slower burn, but he has a chance of offsetting a lot of that as long as he's capturing flags. Oh, well.
Matter of fact, and Frank with a dumbass in the stream chat who's trying to criticize me and looks like an idiot now. Oh my god, he's drinking gin.
Oh, you can very much insult people on Twitch if they're morons to you first. Absolutely you can. You can't go out of line. Like, you can't say anything about someone's physical appearance or race or creed. You can't go on stuff like that. But if someone comes into your stream chat and actively...
But he couldn't do that the first time anyway. That's why he... I remember Tevin talked about this. Where... What the situation he's talking about where criticizing someone's appearance was some guy in his chat, I can't think of the guy's name, went ahead and made an observation basically that was bang on. Phil got mad, went ahead and did the lean in manual, hovered over the guy's name, he saw the guy's icon, and he shitted on how the guy looked like, on what the guy looked like before he banned him, something about the color of his hair or some shit. Phil says, "Oh, I didn't know I could do that. And it just popped up randomly, and I just reacted to it." But Tevin had said, well, no, that's not how that works. You actually had to go to the icon, and I think you had to click on it. And then it would actually show you whatever the person's avatar, or whatever the case may be is. Or you had to hover over it, something like that. You may have not had to click on it. So Phil went out of his way to do that so he could see what this guy looked like, so he could shit on him. That's what happened. What Phil wasn't expecting is he was going to get hit with an indefinite suspension, which ended up turning into like 3 days because Phil sucked off somebody behind the scenes to get off the hook. That's what it came down to. But someone questioning your logic as it pertains to a situation in a game that other person probably plays, or at least is familiar with, is not a grounds to insult anyone. That's just you being a petty little bitch. That's all that is. And people see you for what you are, and that's why people treat you the way you do. But the fact that he has to be, oh, well, you slapped me, so I slapped you back. This type of mentality, at his age, over some silly shit that happens in a comment section or your chat or whatever, is absolutely fucking pathetic. And he wonders why people rag on him the way he does, or the way they do. And people wonder, or he wonders why he doesn't get the opportunities that other people do. Jesus Christ. I don't know about you guys, but this shit right here, if you want to flip it to a more successful situation, it's kind of like the reason why Pokimane, I was going to say Alinity, but Alinity is just, that's a whole nother story for another day. But that's like the reason why Pokimane goes ahead and cries on fucking Twitter every once in a while about why people hate her. Why the fuck, first off, why do you care that people hate you? There are so many people that like you, I assume, and I think I'm correct when I say that, or I say this, that there are more people who care about you more than the people who don't. So why do you care? Secondly, you've never had a problem with flaunting your success or your wealth in front of those people's faces, which would, I suppose, would give you even more reason why people would hate you. But that's not actually the reason, believe it or not. The reason why people don't like Pokimane is because she's fake. She's fake as fuck. And that shit with Gundam, with It's a Gundam, I should say, was just kind of the tipping point. Like, that right there was the amalgamation of all the bullshit that she ever pulled on smaller content creators or on people she thought she could hover over, and it came back to haunt her in the worst possible way. Because when she had fucked around and did all that dumb shit to all those other little content creators, right, who had the nerve to, or the gall to speak up against her, she didn't take a break after a fucking month because the hate train was so on her ass, or that lack thereof of ass, I should say, that she couldn't do much of anything else. There's a reason why that played out the way it did. And PewDiePie didn't have to come about the wings to say nothing to make her apologize this time around like what happened last time. That's what it is. And the thing is it carries with her. It's not going nowhere. In a lot of ways, on the reason why Alinity keeps getting shitted on and how she's going to continue to get shitted on. That stuff doesn't go away. You can sit there and try to say you were trying to empower yourself, you were trying to empower other female streamers. You can say whatever the fuck you want that comes into that pretty little head of yours. The problem is, it's not true. You thought somebody had the gall to say something about you in a certain type of way that you didn't like, and you went after them, and it backfired. There's nothing wrong with standing up for yourself, right? If there was real maliciousness behind any of it, it wasn't. You made it into a malicious situation, and now you took everything that comes with it. If you want empowerment, right, there's going to be a cost that needs to be paid, which is the reason why the empowerment fucking argument doesn't really work, because there's a price to be paid. Whether for the good of the realm or not, there's a price to be paid. The road to hell is paved in good intentions. You know what I'm saying? So why'd you put yourself out there if you weren't ready for the backlash? And you knew there was going to be backlash. There's nothing particularly special about you that would warrant otherwise. Some of the most likable people on the internet take shit when they take a side or they take a stand or whatever the case may be. This is no different. Oh well.
Idiot. Saying nonsense to try to criticize you and make you look bad when they're completely wrong, you absolutely could call them exactly what they are. A mouth-drooling fucking brainless twit. And that's not being toxic, that's being honest.
Oh, I shot him a ton of times, he didn't go down. Seriously? You saw he had no health? That sucks. I hit him so many times, man. I couldn't stab him, he was right there. He wasn't even facing me. That's the thing I really hate about this shit, because it's, again, the connections are not good. It shows him walking and slowly facing a completely different direction, yet his bullets are hitting me. So his bullets are curving around the room and hitting me. Yeah, right. No, in reality, he's facing me, but he doesn't show that because the lag is so fucking bad. It's really dumb.
There's the salt. The delicious salt.
Actually, in that last kill cam, he stole somebody else's kill. I don't know what team. I don't know where that teammate was at, but he outright stole that guy's kill.
Oh my god, he's drinking gin.
Total Score and Cheer said, "What's up, Big Dome? Catching your stream. Big Dome. I have a giant head, so you call me Big Dome. That's a nice insulting way to greet me. That awesome."
I don't know. It always kind of looked more like a square to me than a dome, but all right.
Bullshit. Every single bullet of my hipfire hit him. He barely hit me and I died first. Again, I just spawned. The guy knew I was there, walks out and shoots me before I have a chance to even look at anything. That is trash gameplay.
All you can taste is salt.
That was directly into his head and it did none of the register again. Okay.
We really should start calling these segments Call of Doubt Modern Excuses, because that's really all this is. And yet again, we talk about the lack of creativity, the lack of innovation, and all of these things that are associated with Darkside Phil. But yet, he comes out with some of the most harebrained excuses on why he loses or why he fails in Call of Duty. I think it's starting to eclipse what goes on in Street Fighter. Or it's getting there. You know what I'm saying? We're really making strides to show the his inabilities, or how he's trying to cover up his inabilities, I should say, in Call of Duty. It doesn't make any real sense. I mean, just take it on the chin that you're not very good and just move with it. Like, you know what I'm saying? How fragile how fragile is this? His ego, his image, whatever you want to call it. How fragile is it that you fight this hard to try to preserve it, right? And yet you won't do that for your own life, for your own, air quotes, business. You won't do it for anything else. Like, all of the energy that you expend, making excuses could go to something else, right? That could be way more useful and beneficial to you in the long run. If this is clearly not your bag, right? Like, let's call a spade a spade. This is clearly not your bag. If you want to go in, run around, just get killed, laugh it off and shit, and then move on, so be it. Then do that. Don't sit here and make these pathetic excuses trying to make it seem like you had a chance when you never did. Because that's the reality. That's the truth. You never had a chance. And everybody can see that but you. And all you're doing is putting essentially more mental stress on yourself for little to no gain, while everybody else benefits from it. I wish he could see that. And I know that's kind of against the narrative, but I kind of wish he could see that. That's why he's diminished himself in such a way in Street Fighter. That's exactly why. He spends more time coming up with excuses for his losses than actually getting better or try to preserve what skills and or abilities that he has. He's let all of it diminish just to try to keep up this frail notion of what he used to be 15, 16 years ago. And it means nothing at all. It didn't mean anything then. It's just he had more energy to put behind it. He doesn't have that now. He's slowly dying in the snort fort over there. Yikes.
What the fuck? He had a shotgun. Dude, that's bullshit. I was totally ready for that guy. What the fuck? Come on. It's such bullshit. No, you didn't earn the kill, you piece of shit. It's such nonsense. You didn't even fucking aim. You just fucking spraying. Can't move. I was stuck. I couldn't move at all. I wanted to run around and stab that. I was stuck in place. I was holding the left thumbstick. My guy was just standing there not doing anything. Fucking piece of shit.
With this salt flavor. Ugh.
The $34 in tips, so we're a third of the way to the tips goal for today, guys. Again, please support my stream. I need help with tips right now. If you could forego other methods of support like cheering or something, I really need help with tips in the short term. So if you could tip me, please do, and thank you.
There's still this back here. And it's still in the back of my neck, the back of my head, the back of my mind, and it's always telling me it's WWE Champions time. I love it. I love it. Is a mobile game addict.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we were going to go into the continuation of Gout of Duty. Sorry, and that's what our second video or our third video is going to be, actually. So this should be fun. I'll see you guys in just a second. Oh boy, the salt, the delicious salt.
Go for it.
What you may see right now is going to be absolutely disgusting. Sound good?
Alright, sounds good to me.
Okay, running the thermal. This should theoretically help, but Like anything else, that's only theoretically. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with the third video that will make up our broadcast, brought to us by Burnell. DSP destroyed in Gout of Duty. No sub goal for February, and bets with pennies are allowed. Well, I guess that's an interesting way of trying to profit off of your addiction. This was published on February 2nd of 2020, or 2021, sorry. The link will be down in the description. Okay, let's see how this plays out.
I opened fire immediately, every bullet connected, and I died. Come on. Oh, I was just too far away. I was slightly far away. Damn it.
Yeah, you don't have commando. I don't know why you even thought that was a good idea. And you have to bum rush him at that point. You might as well. He should have just, you go in, you hopefully, you hope that you could take enough bullets, essentially, to get you within range, and then you try to stab them for the instant kill. You must not have watched a lot of knifing montages. But yeah, you weren't going to be able to lunge at anybody like that. That's like Modern Warfare 2, I think. That might be what he's thinking about. Maybe.
Because I don't know it yet. Oh no, come on, not now. Oh man. It's the game too, because my stream's still working. It's the game. I did the game server just crapped out. Yeah, the game server crapped out. Because the stream is perfectly fine. Well, I did have a positive kill death ratio.
Even though we talk about the connections all the time being bad, but as long as the stream's up, that works out, right? And I thought we didn't care about kill death ratio. Yikes.
I was way the fuck off. God damn, dude, that was terrible. That was really bad. I suck. I lost. That was my fault. I completely lost my aim.
Yo, that kind of reminded me of some Predator shit. Like the original with Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. That's what that went in, you know what I'm saying? The Predator's looking through like the thermal scope and shit. That's kind of what that shit reminded me of. But it's not really just that. It's the fact that like you fired 3 shots at this dude, missed, you bring your scope over his body again. The dude ends up flanking back the other way, but you still fire 4 or 5 shots that way, and then you get murked. Like either, yet again, there's some type of delay between what he sees and how he can actually, in his inputs, like how he can actually place things into the controller to interact with the game, or you just can't see, or I don't even want to say what number 3 is going to be. It's just bad all around. It's certainly a combination of the two, though. He can't see clearly what's going on. That's clearly an issue. And there's some type of delay between what he sees and how he can react to it. It's the only real thing that kind of makes sense, to be honest, because it is a very fast-paced game. On top of that, though, too, he does hesitate a lot. Like, you know what I'm saying? The enemy's right in front of you. What's wrong with you? Just pull the trigger. He swears to God that he does, but he really don't. He really don't, which goes back to the delay between what he's seeing and and how he reacts to it. Like, I would say, as it pertains to really, really bad gamers, there is not a better example of someone clearly who just has a bunch of physical and mental disadvantages than Darkside Phil. I think it's as clear as crystal.
Damn it. I suck.
It's my fault. I screwed up. I did. I am willing to admit when I make a mistake.
Great.
Actually, now I think about it. Remember how I brought up that analogy about how he insulted that guy with the colored hair or whatnot who made a joke about him in his stream chat? I think that was actually the situation when he had to do a YouTube stream to explain what was going on, because remember how he was bitching and complaining about how, oh, Twitch should have sent me a message first and told me what was going on before they took my stream down, and that was really disrespectful, and so on and so forth. And supposedly his probation officer on Twitch said, yeah, we're really sorry about that. We should have reached out to you first to tell your audience. Fuck all that. There have been plenty of people who got dropped midstream, especially if you're one of the big guys. that's not something out of the ordinary. Once you get hit with the violation or what they deem a violation, you go down. You know what I'm saying? There is no little pep talk or whatever, or let you bow out gracefully, if you will. It's you just go down. You just go down.
Yo! He wasn't showing up on the therm. I guess there's something up with that guy. He wouldn't show up on the therm, so I couldn't get a beat on him.
That's weird. I'm wondering if he was even shooting at the original guy. Is that the guy? I don't know if he was even shooting at the right guy or not. Because it was like I said, so he put shots on the guy ends up going behind a boulder or something, and then he shoots some more, and the guy kind of disappears, and then he goes ahead and even continues to further his turning, and it's like, yo, Phil, I think you may have overturned that a little bit. I don't think... Are you even looking for the same dude, or was there like two guys there? It might be something I missed. It's possible.
Did you see that? I hit him 6 to 7 times, and because he had the stupid body armor, he didn't die. He hit me with 2 far away shotgun kills and shots, and they killed me. Doesn't make any sense. He was too far away for that to be effective. Complete bullshit. He didn't die. He didn't die. Are you out of your mind? This is so dumb. So many bullets I put in him. He didn't die. What the fuck?
There's the salt. The delicious salt.
That's crazy bullshit. That's crazy. Why the fuck were they able to get the drop on me if I couldn't fire my gun in time? It didn't make any sense at all. Where they are. I tried to use the knife, but again, to switch weapons takes a long time. It takes a long time to just take out the knife and stab. Damn.
Actually, in truth, he's not kind of wrong about that because, you know, if you watch all the old Call of Duty shit, right, people used to bitch and complain about panic knifing. And now they essentially gotten rid of it for the most part. And now people are like, I can't use my knife in time to defend myself. And it's like, I mean, but this is what you guys asked for. This is what you guys wanted. You said that panic knifing was overpowered and it needs to be taken the fuck out of the game, and it was like a no skill tactic and so on and so forth. Now it's gone. Now everybody bitching about how they can't defend themselves. What a fickle bunch.
What? How in the... Look at this. That is complete nonsense. 0 recoil on his weapon. He has a heavy ass weapon. 0 recoil. 0. Fuck you.
Why am I toxic? More toxic, more toxic.
Does he forget that, like, attachments are a thing? And that guy's aim was actually pretty solid, too. It was solid as fuck. But, like, does he forget that, like, attachments are a thing and shit? Maybe. Maybe. They gave you all of that customization and don't use a lick of it. He just wants to find out what the most overpowered gun is and then just run into that shit raw with some type of scope, which is probably not even the right scope, or reflex or whatever that he should be using, and expect to just do well. Like he's ever been anything about anything in Call of Duty. Yikes.
I did it! That's bullshit. As soon as I saw the body, I pressed it. That's bullshit.
Again, guys, thank you to those who have supported the stream today. I really appreciate it. I mean, I appreciate you guys just hanging out with me in general, but for those who did support the stream, thank you. I am really, really, really looking to hit the tips goal today. It would be very beneficial if I did. I need the help for the next 2 weeks until I get paid by Twitch. So please, if you're going to contribute today, if you can, please tip me. Really, I need the help with your tips, okay?
Oh, really? Damn it. Oh. Oh, come on! I had at him, my teammate, being an idiot, didn't see me chasing him because they're a fucking moron, and instead got me killed because he got his attention turned around to me.
That was very salty, I'm not gonna lie. There was a lot of salt.
Alright guys, again, with an hour to go, it'd be really nice to hit the tips goal today. We're so effing close. Please, if you can, please tip me today.
There's nothing I can do. There's nothing you can do. Because the connection's too bad to take out people who are camping. They're all camping at the same spot. We cannot get to them. Because it never shows them to be able to shoot them. What the fuck? I was behind cover. I pop out to shoot him. I'm already dead. No chance to aim or fire. Yeah, this is a waste of time. I would have rage quit this by far a long time ago. If you guys had told me not to rage quit today, I would have been out of here. This is a huge waste of time.
Basically, here's a whiny baby.
I filled him with bullets. I filled him with bullets and he didn't die.
Nah, I think he got like 3 good gut shots on that guy. That was probably about it. And after that, he got obliterated. Cherry juice everywhere. For sure. Like, he definitely had at least 3 shots on that guy. But that was probably about as far as I was going to go. There was nothing else there. And he wasn't going to be able to defend himself. And I don't know why he aimed down the scope that early anyway. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you're going to keep running around silly like that, then you might as... There's no point in you aiming down sight. It's not going to help you. But yet again, he should go ahead and change to a reflex anyway. I don't know why he's using that particular optic. It's not doing anything for him. And it's not like his aim is good enough to be using it downrange anyway.
What the hell, dude? He wasn't there. Oh, fuck you. Fuck this bad connection again. He wasn't there. I turn around. Oh, I'm there. I need to kill you.
So as of right now, I'm at $122 in tips. We've done it. Thank you to those who did tip. I appreciate that very much. And that means it's vest time.
Of course, because I go to throw a grenade. Of course. This game fucking sucks ass. Major dick. Oh my god, first of all...
I'm sorry, that was funny on multiple fronts. You had all those targets to choose from before those guys took cover. Fucked all that up. Kept shooting anyway, despite the fact that you weren't hitting anything. Just because you see the indicator with their names or whatever doesn't mean he's hitting any of them. And then you let this dude go ahead and just come up from behind and go ahead and steal himself some cherry juice. Like, freshly squeezed. You know what I mean? At the peak of his goutiness. Just came across and just popped his cherry, no pun intended, and when he took his cherry juice and left. God damn, Phil. God damn.
None of the bullets register, despite the fact you can see he's open on the therms. None of the bullets are registering. And then the guy comes up from behind. Those all should have hit, and you notice the game said none of those hit. Every one of those bullets should have connected with him. Can't kill him! Again! Point blank, fire into the face, no doubt. Where? They're invisible! Dude, I fucking therms, and it's not on the fucking screen. They're invisible.
Whining, complaining.
It's shitty connections, and it's hit or miss again. I do really good on a map, so what do? They put me into the stupid skill-based matchmaking where the match lags like crazy, so I can't get any kills. How is that skill-based? That's stupidity-based. That's Treyarch is a bunch of fucking morons.
Conway Bloodbank did a 100-bit cheer. He says, do you think you could go a day without insulting people? Maybe just ignore them. No. Insulting people is part of my regular regimen.
We're not going to have a subscriber goal for February. Even though I appreciate your support with subscribing and everything, I don't see the point of having a subscriber goal for the month of February when I owe you guys 2 events already. Right? I owe you Retrospective, and then I owe you another Viewer's Choice, and we're starting up Divinity Original Sin, which is another Viewer's Choice. I don't want to go crazy here and owe you guys 3+ events, and then we're backlogged like crazy.
And by the way...
I mean, that wouldn't be the first time, though. Especially if you think about some of those Patreon playthroughs back in the day. He used to be at a massive Sorry. God damn it. He used to be at a massive deficit in what he owed and compared to what he was collecting or what he was taking in. And he still did it. He still took his $12.50 and he still dragged his ass talking about, oh, well, I'll just put these playthroughs off until we get to the slow time of the year, you know what I'm saying? Right before the hardcore the hardcore gaming season. And then, you know, we'll play it then during that slow period of time because I won't have anything good to play anyway. Until a AAA release came out that he did want to play, and then shit just got pushed back further and further and further. So this isn't anything new. It's just harder for him to get away with doing it, that's all.
I'm not going to be doing an emergency stream where I need to raise tips or anything like that. The way I see it, business as usual. Let's have fun with games every day. I'll just remind you, please tip me if you can, and hopefully it works out, and hopefully I raise enough tips that I can pay everything, and go from there. Okay?
Okay. Alright. Play the Vinny Original Sin 2 since you know better than all of us. Here's what you can do. You can leave the stream, and you can go write all kinds of stuff about, you know, literature somewhere else. He said, oh, Phil's wrong, that's not what it is. Go fuck off. Fucking moron. Okay.
Oh, Phil actually is a really toxic person, so we're just gonna keep saying, why am I toxic? Because it's a meme.
DSP buys GameStop stock, cheering and saying, I should be careful what I do with these wagers and predictions on stream because the trolls are saying that it's a violation of terms of service to do that in regards to tips. If I, for example, did a prediction saying, gee, well, Phil hit the tips goal today, that's a violation of terms of service. Alright, you're an idiot. You actually listened to something that those morons actually said. It's blatantly in writing stated that tips have nothing whatsoever to do with the terms of service of Twitch. You could say whatever you want in regards to tips. You could do tip goals. You could do a marathon to do fundraising for tips. You could wager, you know, stupid channel bits or channel points that have nothing to do with anything, which isn't currency, on an outcome of a tip. You can do all that. It's fine. What you can't do stuff with cheers and stuff like that.
Now, the reason why he's just saying cheers and that's it, because in the end of 2017, leading into 2018, he was doing fundraisers based around bits. Obviously, he knew he was going to get other things too, but based around bits or whatever, and that's what ended up getting him in a little bit of hot water with Twitch. Not that they actually disciplined him in any type of way that would cause his streams to go down or anything like that, if I remember correctly. I think someone contacted him behind the scenes and said, yeah, you better cut that shit out. So, if that's the case, and even back then, why the fuck were you doing fundraisers, so to speak, for bits and subs? Why wouldn't you just do a fundraiser for tips? Which is what he ended up doing after that anyway. It didn't make any sense, especially given the amount of money people were giving him for Thanksgiving and Christmas of 2017. Like, he pulled in a good amount. A really, really good amount. So why didn't you just keep that momentum going? And yet again, maybe he did it because under the pretense that, oh, okay, well, if we go ahead and do bits and subs or whatever, Twitch gets their cut, so it'll be less of a chance that they'll come down on me because they'd be benefiting from it as well. Maybe that's what his thought process is. I don't know. But just put it out there.
That really has major rules and regulations set up on Twitch. Whoever said that is a complete jackass trying to create drama where it doesn't exist, and if you believed it, you're a moron. So thanks for wasting my time.
Super
I don't know, but I do kind of agree with that individual that betting, essentially betting with Penne points or whatever the case may be, whatever fucking new scam he's trying to run, sounds like a really bad idea. But then again, that is Dark Side Phil in a nutshell. Though he's always trying to skirt around the fucking the rules with any little thing he could benefit, and then if he gets caught, he just pleads ignorance and says, "Oh, I didn't know." Or that wasn't clearly stated, or whatever dumb shit, you know, that comes into his piggy little head. And then gets off with a slap on the wrist. He's always been like that. You know what I'm saying? He's always been like that. So I guess we shouldn't be surprised that it translates like this, but it's like someone who, I could never call him a mastermind or anything, or any like Moriarty or anything. But like, it's like someone who conned a bunch of people into believing that he was a good person, a talented person, a relevant person, to now being reduced to just petty crimes. Like, literally, like, you begging for change to feed a sick child when there's clearly no sick child. Like that. He's been reduced to the lowest common denominator of a con man. Like, the shit's not even really creative. It's just throwing whatever pig shit at the wall and hoping that something sticks. It certainly stinks, but just hoping something sticks. That's essentially what he's been reduced to.
$3, and you look pretty today. That's very disturbing. I don't think anyone should say that I look pretty. Although it is a compliment, and I appreciate that. There's still this back here. And it's still in the back of my neck, the back of my head, the back of my mind, and it's always telling me it's WWE Champions time. I love it. I love it. Is a mobile game addict. Still has.
Ah, yes. That's one of my favorites. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going into video number 4 of our broadcast. Let's see here. Best games? That should be funny. We're going to the best games. That should be hilarious. All right, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to take a small music break, if you will. And I will see you guys in just a second. Yeah.
Warning. What you may see right now is going to be absolutely disgusting. Sound good?
Alright, sounds good to me.
No, I'm not going to do a fundraising marathon stream at all. We already have a special thing going on with the retrospective this weekend. Hopefully that would help people to support, or at least convince them to support a little bit more than usual, maybe. But I'm not going to do
Wow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with the 4th video that will make up our broadcast, brought to us by Burnell, DSP. Extreme begging continues. The best 10 games of 2020 for the PRCult leader. And, sorry about that, let me get this last part. And I don't remove videos, which is a blatant lie. This was published on February 3rd of 2021. The link will be down in the description. Here we go. Matter of fact, the only boaster that last point about I don't remove videos, there was excuse me, there's a few gems on the Dark Side Phil YouTube channel, which still exists, and then you can still readily get your hands on, that I was looking for, that pertained, this particular video I should say, was rumored. Obviously I didn't get a chance to see it and I couldn't find it, so it is what it is. But I know exactly where it should have been. This particular video was supposed to delve into why his 2010 FGC campaign ended up fluttering out. Well, 2011, sorry. Whatever year it was that Marvel vs. Capcom 3 came out. So, quick backstory and then we'll get into this. So, I went back to watch one of Tevin's Back in Times, where he goes over the FGC. And that takes you back to one of the first videos, because, you know, Tevin, he did that shit in chronological order. He had a video where Phil was talking about how Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was coming out, and he was talking about what he was going to do for the tournament season, which is essentially the EVO. It was like the EVO qualifying season or whatever. I can't remember what they called it back then. But Phil was going to essentially follow the tournament scene, all these different tournaments leading up to EVO, and he was really trying to make an effort to qualify for Super Battle Opera, or SBO, for Super Turbo, because Super Turbo got inducted into Super Battle Opera that year. So he was really gonna hustle and grind for that, and he was doing some other things. Now, granted, this is 2011. he's going to go to all these big tournaments for Marvel vs. Capcom 3. He wanted to interview people that he used to know and do all this. In actuality, it was just going to be a way for him to take people's footage. And I've said this before, plenty of detractors who know what I'm talking about know. It was just going to be an opportunity for him to go to tournaments, steal their footage, and place it up on YouTube. And he ended up going to, I think he ended up going to Winter Brawl. He said he was it Winter Brawl? It might have been Winter Brawl. He said he was going to Winter Brawl, and I think he actually ended up doing so. And then he said he was going to go to Final Round that year, which is held in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, because Taquito was going to be there. And he wanted to get his revenge on Taquito, which obviously never happened. And something happened between those 2 points. So I went back to the Dark Side Philly YouTube channel as I'm listening to Tevin's video, and I'm thinking, all right, it should be right around here. Let me see if I can find it. Privated, deleted, privated, couple more, privated, deleted. I was like, oh, well, that's hurtful. That's hurtful. So I'm gonna have to basically double back. I'm sure there's a detractor or a group of detractors back in those days who may have mirrored, if not the whole video, at least some of it, and we'll get it from there. But that opens up a whole new mystery on why he gave up on that 2011 FGC run. Now I'm interested. I am very, very interested. So that's something you guys can look forward to on the Fight Club channel, if I can ever find it. If not, I'll just tell the story up to that particular point. But very, very interesting, because he was talking. He had laid out the whole situation. I guess it was like in a channel update video, where, you know, he was going to go to all these different tournaments. He was going to record all the footage of certain matches and whatever, because he was really hype about Marvel vs. Capcom 3. And that Super Turbo was starting to come back into a little bit of a prominence. And he had all these plans and everything. And keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, we're on YouTube money now. We're not on helicopter money no more. We're on YouTube money. So when you look at his backdrop, if you will, or his wall in Connecticut, there all those gaming, you know, pictures or canvas art or whatever, none of that's there. None of that exists yet. So just to give you guys an idea of the time frame. And yeah, now I want to know. I want to know why he ended up giving up after Winter Brawl. Now, granted, I kind of already know. It really comes down to the fact that people were starting to realize what Phil was doing, and word was getting around fast. Even though it's being streamed, he's got these, like, he's actually has the matches, and they're actually going up. And they're going up a couple of days before the actual streams are being uploaded, or anybody else, like Team Spooky, for example, could upload the matches, which is something Tevin had pointed out. He was essentially undercutting his friends, which supposedly he was friendly with Team Spooky. He was undercutting those guys, and he was undercutting a lot of the tournament organizers who were starting to get into YouTube. They're starting to put footage out so they could build up more hype for their tournaments the following years. Final Round's a great example of that. He was undercutting all them guys, and someone ended up approaching him. I assume a few people did, actually. And that's what ended up pushing him out of the FGC. I think that's why they pushed him out of the FGC. But that's all speculation for another day. Just an interesting little tidbit.
Emergency stream. We're just gonna stream as normal. Okay? That's why I hope you guys will listen to my request for support here and you know, help me out if you can. Alright, so in about roughly 30 minutes, can I hit the tips call? I get the feeling this is a very, very losing bet. I think people are pretty much done tipping for the night. Or if there were going to be a few tips, there'd be a few small ones. Very doubtful we're going to see a giant tips cut tonight, so that's a pretty big risk. Then again, earlier today, it also didn't look like we were going to hit the tips call, and then we did. So some people made out.
And every single person could, oh, that's e-begging. That's not begging. That's advertisement.
Oh, I just realized we hit the $50 tips call. It's Gunner Glass this time. I completely forgot. Alright. Alright, guys, only 20 minutes left on the stream. We'll see how much we can get.
Well, that's convenient, but also it kind of makes sense for him to put the glasses on so people don't feel like they're completely being cheated, and maybe they can push his ass into overtime to get that vesicle. So let's be honest, there's a method behind the madness.
Here, how far we can get, and also we'll see if anyone else contributes. I guess there's a wager of can we hit the tips goal. Very unlikely, incredibly unlikely that we'll hit the tips goal tonight. But people already wagered their Penne points on it, so... You know, though, wouldn't it be kind of broken? Because here's why I say that. What if someone already was going to contribute? They had the intention that they were going to contribute to hit the tip skull, and then they wagered all their Penne points saying Phil will hit the tip skull, and then they're the ones who actually made it happen. That's not fair, right? So I don't know how, I don't know about this. I mean, at least the Penne points have no value and it doesn't really matter, but still, I can definitely see some manipulation of the system there.
Oh, what the fuck was this? That's not what I thought this was. The blood swine?
And here's the messed up part. If that's what only Iced Coffee or whoever else, if that was really their plan, Phil ain't sat there and blown that shit out of the water because he's a fucking dumbass and he had nothing else to talk about. So he decided to be honest for a minute. Imagine that. Imagine that. And he does that a lot. When Phil doesn't have anything to say, he'll literally go ahead and drop, I guess you could say, gold dust or drop jewels that certainly shouldn't have been said and gets used against him later. Because I'm a fucking idiot.
I hit the wrong button. I'm dead. I didn't mean to do this at all. It was a complete accident. I think I can kill it. I just gotta dodge. Complete accident. That's not what I thought it was.
Oh my god, he's drinking gin.
Well, guys, only about 5 to 10 minutes left on stream, tops. I'm just going to talk to Moira and figure this part out. And that's pretty much going to be the end of the stream, so it's not looking like we're hitting the tip skull tonight. So those of you who wagered, I told you it was a long shot and probably not a good idea. And it ain't looking good for you. Looks like people are going to lose a lot of Penne points tonight on that long shot wager. I'm not doing it. By the way, I'm not doing this because I'm thinking tips. There's no more tips coming in tonight, I guarantee you. No one else is tipping. The tipping is done with. And I do appreciate those of you who did tip tonight. Or those who contributed anyway, but in particular those who tipped tonight, because that's what I need help with, so thank you guys.
That's not begging. That's business.
If you are going to contribute tonight, which I would appreciate if you do, please tip me. I really need tips badly. Right now I need to get through to the middle of the month until Twitch pays me, and your tips are literally the only income I'm going to have to pay stuff. So please tip me if you can. I appreciate all those who do. Thank you in advance. It'd be nice to hit the tips goal tonight. When we did that disappointing games countdown, I only raised like $30. So it'd be great if we could hit the tips goal. Maybe even get a vest on.
But that's fitting though. You had a disappointing games countdown and you only made $30. I mean, disappointing tips kind of goes hand in hand with a disappointing stream. It makes, I don't know, I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense. It was all poorly put together anyway. So, I mean, you get what you get.
Countdown. That'll be interesting, huh?
Oh my god, he's drinking gin.
In actuality, just to show you how much of an idiot this guy is, he should have done the top 10 best countdown first, and then build up the anticipation for the worst. And then just really just be toxic and negative and everything for that. That's what he should have done. But Phil's not that smart, you see.
Game of 2020 is The Last of Us 2. Now, you all know my very, very, very strong criticism of this game, alright?
Oh my god, he's drinking gin.
So, this game has a lot to praise. Again, the graphics, the gameplay improvements, the world design. Oh, I didn't even mention the voice acting. Of course. They got an all-star cast of voice actors who did an insane job. I know that you know they did the mocap, right? The mocap is top-notch. The number 9 pick for the best game of 2020 is...
Wait. Was Last of Us 2 on his top 10 best games of the year? Did he use the same game twice? Can he do... I mean, it's his list. I guess he can do that. I'm sorry. I got to bring this back a little bit. Because I find this kind of shitty that you would do that, to be honest. Like, if it's on the disappointing list, it shouldn't be on your best game list either. You can't have both. But here, I might have heard it wrong, so excuse me on that.
Great, we can hit the tips goal. Maybe even get a vest on for the end of the countdown. That'll be interesting, huh?
Oh my god, he's drinking gin.
My number 10 best game of 2020 is The Last of Us 2. Now, you all know my
What a scumbag. What, yet again, it's his list. He can do what the fuck you want, but what a scumbag to do that. You're gonna sit there and put that on your top 10 disappointed list, or most disappointed list. And I think it was like number 2, right? Because number 1 was Cyberpunk. So yeah, I think it was at least number 2. It was in the top 3 for sure. But then you're gonna put it on your fucking best game list too? Oh, fucking dumbass. Jesus Christ. And here's another fucked up part, theoretically. This is him trying to pander to both audiences. You know what I'm saying? The people who want to try to who would make the best of a bad situation, so to speak, and enjoy the game for what it was. But then the overall hate mongers, if you're not real, they're not really hate mongers, but for the overall group who disliked it for various reasons, for any and all reasons, he's trying to appeal to both. But I thought he was his own man and he could stand on his own two hooves. That's fucking sad. And then I bet you anything that he would use the excuse, oh, it wasn't in my top 5 or my top 3, so, you know, I saw some redeemable qualities, so that's why it was number 10. I guarantee you that's what the scam was. What a piece of shit. What a piece of slimy, greasy shit.
Very strong criticism of this game, alright?
Oh my god, he's drinking gin.
So, this game has a lot to praise. Again, the graphics, the gameplay improvements, the world design. Oh, I didn't even mention the voice acting. Of course, they got an all-star cast of voice actors who did an insane job. I know that you know they did the mocap, right? The mocap is top-notch. The number 9 pick for the best game of 2020 is the Final Fantasy VII Remake, alright? I enjoyed the game. Again, I can't deny a game like this. Look how good it looks. It plays well. I like the fleshing out of the character.
Wasn't Final Fantasy VII on the disappointing list too? Oh! What a lazy piece of shit! Okay, here's the premise that I'm coming from. This is where my thought process is. If a game is on my most disappointed list, my top 10 most disappointed list, it can't be on my best games of the year list then. It just can't. Now, don't be wrong. I think I kind of understand where he's going from, where, oh, I had all this anticipation, all this hype for it, and it fell flat. And that's why it's on my disappointing list. But I saw some value in it, and that's why it's on my top 10 best. Fair enough, if that's where we have to go, if that's how he has to grasp at his little piggy straws. But if it's on my most disappointing list, then I don't see how you could put it on the best games of 2020. I just don't see how you can play both angles like that. It just comes across as being lazy and condescending in a lot of ways. Because you could have some certain disappointments with it, but not put it on the disappointment list, and you could just talk about it. You can talk about some of those aspects as you're praising it, essentially, on your best list. Here, this is some of the shortcomings of it, but this is the things that outweighed it, and this is why I would recommend it if someone was to play it. I mean, like I said, that might be just me. If you disagree, I get it, and I can respect that. But that's just my thoughts. I feel like this is it's just a lazy list. Really, really lazy.
The side mission, but at the same time, it just felt underwhelming.
Because essentially, every game from the top 10 most disappointed list can be on the best games list. So what's the point? If you want to put it into perspective.
Or it could have been better if they weren't stuck in Midgard the whole fucking game, and if they didn't go somewhere completely different with the plot of the game than the original, okay? My number 8 best game of 2020 is Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Yes! In my opinion, the game is outstanding with the improvements they made to it, and they removed the gimmicky crap. But the fact that the skill-based matchmaking screws it up makes it that I can only say it's about, number 8 on my countdown of best games of the year. It would probably, I'm not even kidding, it would have made top 5 or higher if, I don't know how you get higher than top 5, if it had better matchmaking
top
and better
3?
online connections, but
whatever.
They're just not consistent enough, and I have to be honest, okay? My number 7.
Wait, how did that make number 8, though? Theoretically, Call of Duty should be like number 9. As much as he bitches about it, that should be, theoretically, that should have been like number 9 on that list. To be honest. If Final Fantasy should be, at least from what we see so far, Final Fantasy should be like number 7. Or number 8. Sorry, it should be number 8. And Call of Duty should theoretically be number 9. And he can keep Last of Us where Last of Us is because he don't like sex. So, either which way. He doesn't mind having shit inserted in his ass, though, but he don't like sex. Whatever.
Best game of 2020 is Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time. I think a lot of people slept on this game. Maybe it's because people are just tired of platformers. But for someone who recently, in the past 5+ years, played all of the Crash Bandicoot...
Didn't Secret Limited do it? This is how you don't play on it? I saw Phil's soul get sucked out of him during this game. Almost to the level that what Panda did to him when she left. His soul was crushed during that playthrough. His soul was crushed during that playthrough at parts. That shit was hilarious. Oh well, alright.
Alright? And someone who appreciates the classics, but then taking a modern spin on the classics. This game is the best of all worlds. Ladies and gentlemen, number 6. I don't think anyone expected to see this on my countdown. When I started playing the Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remake or remaster collection, I was getting my ass handed to me. I sucked.
You play Tony Hawk? Alright, I'm just gonna chuck that into the piggy void. I didn't even remember that. He's like, you play Tony Hawk? Really?
Ass at it. I only rented Tony Hawk 1 or 2, I couldn't even tell you which one it was, way back in the day on PlayStation 1. I sucked ass at it. I was no good at Tony Hawk. I didn't know what I was doing. And what's funny is, I know I sucked at it for like the first 80% of the time that I was playing this playthrough. I was terrible at it. But because I stuck with it, alright, by the end of the playthrough, I was able to beat every stage, including the hidden stage at the end of the game, and I was getting incredibly high scores. I got the trophies for beating the high score challenges and stuff, because I stuck with it, okay?
Obi Terminator shares that you suspect you suffer from untreated diabetes. No, but I do suspect that you are an ass, and you're now banned, because it's not something funny to try to joke about fucking medical conditions on someone's stream. And
what makes you assume that's a joke? He asked you a question. Why do you assume that's a... Oh, that's right, everything that's said that's negative is a meme of some type. He gonna wake up one day, man. He gonna wake up one day, and his legs are gonna be fucking dark. And given how pale he is, that's gonna mean something. He's gonna be in a fucking load of trouble and shit. And this is someone who's too lazy to go to the doctor's office because he pays all this money in insurance that he doesn't want to pay. He doesn't want to pay any more money to the doctor. That ambulance ride is going to be a pain in the fucking ass, and that's before you even get there for treatment. Jesus Christ.
My number 5 best game of 2020.
And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it's plausible. It's possible that all those doctor's appointments that he used to talk about in 2019, well, 2019 and 2020, that we suspected it might have been for Jasper or certainly Catherine, it may have been for one or both of them, because it certainly wasn't for him. Obviously. It certainly wasn't for him. So it must have been one of those two. And like I said, for Jasper, it's possible, given the whole declawing situation, but that's still up in the air. And for Catherine, who knows? We ain't seen her. We haven't seen her. And the only time we heard her was, I'm not sure what video that was in, but she had dropped like a hairbrush or something in the hallway. And Phil immediately got up and opened the door. He's like, what's going on out here? And she's like, oh, I just dropped my brush, whatever. He's like, oh, okay. I thought something was going on. You okay? Like, he sounded paranoid as fuck. He clearly sounds scared. And it was like, she's the only one in the house with you. Like, I assume if there was an issue, she would have screamed for you or something. So, there you go. And like I said, no one's seen her since Halloween of 2018. So, who knows what Cat looks like these days. So, it is what it is. No, wait. They got married in 2000. No, never mind. Yeah, the last time we saw her on stream was 2018. Halloween of 2018. We obviously saw what she looked like in April of 2019 because that's when her and Phil got married.
Demon's Souls for the PlayStation 5. Yes, this game was really well done. At the same time, you know, the reason that this basically isn't higher on my list is because they did not go the extra mile to fix the glaring issues that were part of Demon's Souls. Notably, the online connectivity is absolutely terrible still. They did not improve it at all. For the number 4 best game of 2020. I don't know if you are. I honestly don't know if you're ready for this.
So wait, so we have at least, what, 4 games so far that are on his top 10 best games list? At least 4. Because the 2 games that weren't on the disappointing list was Tony Hawk and Crash Bandicoot. But everything else was on the most disappointing list. Jesus Christ.
I don't think so. I think people are gonna... Here we go. The Dark Pictures Anthology, Little Hope. Yes! This game is my number 4 favorite game of 2020. I didn't think a single person would predict this one.
Oh, and I don't think Call of Duty was on the disappointing list either. Most disappointed list. So there's that. Let me give them a little credit. A couple sprinkles of salt here or there.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you know anything about me, you know why this is so high on my list. And this game is like synonymous with an interactive horror movie, alright? Great writing, unique and interesting characters, dialogue options that you can affect and change depending on what you pick, right? I loved that about it. The atmosphere was spooky as hell, you had an ongoing mystery, you couldn't figure out what was going on. I had no clue what was going on in this game until the very end.
Has Phil played Little Nightmare? Because the second one is out. But like, Little Nightmare came out, then they had the DLC, and then we have the second game out. Has he played at least the DLC or the first one? I'm really legitimately asking if that was the case, because I don't remember him doing it, but that doesn't mean a whole lot because a lot of his playthroughs kind of just blend into each other, and I kind of chuck all of that shit as garbage. So it is what it is. But I'm just curious if he has or not, and if so, is he going to play the new one? Now, granted, at the time that I'm recording this, we already know the story and everything, and I don't want to spoil anything, but I kind of want to do a small theory video on it. But there's a bunch of great theories already floating around. But I'm just curious if he's played Little Nightmare at all yet, or if he's going to. Oh wow, Snort Burnell has great timing as usual. I'm talking about Little Nightmare, and then this nightmare fuel shit comes up. God damn, this right here is really some disturbing shit. It's really probably the most disturbing shit that I've seen him do with his face, or what you would call a face. It's just terror. It just reeks of fucking terror. Oh my god. It's like he talked about, you know, I'm a human being and shit, but you do shit like this that speaks otherwise.
My number 3 best game of 2020.
Oh my god, he's drinking gin.
It is Bug Snacks. Bug Snacks. Goddamn motherfucking Bug Snacks is number 3 favorite game.
He knows he could just he can actually just put the sound effect into OBS, right? He doesn't need his little music box. I forgot that thing still. I thought he already gotten rid of that shit. When Jasper jumped up on the keyboard and that shit with the fucking chin strap, the snore strap came up and it has that scary sound effect onto it. Real, that screeching, I should say. I thought after that he realized, you know what? I could just throw in audio files and play it like that. Oh well.
Game of 2020. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. But I'm serious, this is a fucking insanely good game. You know, this game is not for kids. I want to repeat that, ladies and gentlemen. Bug Snacks is not a game for kids. If you have kids play this game, they're going to be terrified by the end of the game. They're going to be crying. They're going to have nightmares. They're going to have post-traumatic stress disorder from playing Bug Snacks. This game has adult themes, like romantic relationships, like depression, like other mental disorders, you know, societal disorders, you know, things like that in the game. These are adult situations. These are adult plot lines. This is not, a kid will not understand the shit going on in this game.
Are you being fucking serious? Are you... You're a nut. I'm not even gonna entertain this. You're being a fucking nut. You're being a fucking nut. The last few Mario, it was only a couple Mario games back that people were like, yo, Mario's taking kind of a darker spin. Matter of fact, Matt Pack from Game Theory had even gone over that and said it took a little bit of a darker tone or whatnot. But at the same time, that's just the evolution of games in general and of a series. At the end of the day, you're going to see, just like you see in cartoons, in animation, in kid movies, and so on and so forth, you're going to see more and more adult-oriented things be pushed into children's media. It happens all the time. It's been happening for a very, very fucking long time. Now, granted, you don't have kids, so that's one thing, and that's understandable. But you sit around and play fucking kids' games all goddamn day. There's a bunch of adult undertones or whatnot, or overtones, if you will, and a lot of those games that you played in, all that shit went right over his fucking head. But just because you had a bunch of fucking clay figures and shit that can turn into fruit or whatever, all of a sudden that right there is supposed to traumatize some kid? Shut the fuck up. No one's gonna care. You know what I'm saying? The kid's gonna play it for what it is and be done with it and move on to the next game. No one's gonna get traumatized over some silly shit like that. You're way too invested if that's the case. What this does show is Phil's own immaturities at play and being played upon, if you will. For him to feel the way he's feeling about this, yeah, you're out of fucking touch in the worst possible way, which is kind of hilarious. Sad, but hilarious.
Sure.
First game, in chronological order, Ghost of Tsushima, alright? And the game is gorgeous. Unique combat styles. You can play this straightforward like a samurai, head up, challenge everyone, and try to do parries, and dodges, and combos. Or, you can play it completely stealthily. So then, what other game in 2020 could even stand up or compare? I just kissed Ghost of Tsushima's butt, right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's another game that I feel is just as good as Ghost of Tsushima, And that game is called Yakuza 7. Yakuza 7 blew me away. The fact that not only does this game usually have a story that's really well written and very dramatic with twists and turns, but also having a ton of side content. You'll run into the most silly people in the streets of Kamurocho, learn their stories, try to help them out, and by doing that you learn upgrades and you get all kinds of fun stuff unlocked for your characters. Okay, but there's always this overwhelming, underlying, very serious, dramatic plotline of a Yakuza kind of a deal going on in the game. So when they announced, after 6 iterations plus Yakuza 0, so technically I guess that would be 7 iterations of Yakuza, that they were going to change the style from being running around and doing action-based combat and turn it into turn-based combat like a typical JRPG like Dragon Quest, I think a lot of people were skeptical. Me, I reserved judgment and said, I'm going to see what they can do with this. I love JRPGs, alright? I love turn-based combat. And if they do something that's robust and interesting, I feel that this could be a really great change for the Yakuza franchise. I'm very happy to say it was. I have to pick a winner between these two games, alright? I've got to go with Yakuza 7 as my game of the year.
It's not possible. I would appreciate it, guys. We're at $42.
I mean, obviously that right there is fucking out the fucking stratosphere when it comes to choices. But yet again, this dude isn't a gamer. You know what I'm saying? He goes with game titles that are familiar to him, that he has some type of history with, that he feels that he succeeded at some time and or some point in the past. I'm not surprised by that. I'm really not. I'm actually surprised that Bugsnax didn't actually get number 2. That does kind of surprise me, but given his bitch fit type excuses and reasons for that, it kind of makes sense. Wow. And that, ladies and gentlemen, despite the fact that he could probably do game journalism, at least back in the day, he can't do it now. He's flushed with way too many personal bias and stuff like that. Not to say that game writers don't have a lot of that now, or at least some of them do. Don't suffer from that same condition now either. But with Phil, it's very pronounced. It's very, very pronounced, and he'd have a hard time hiding it.
Appreciate it if we get some more, like I said, these countdown streams, sadly, they didn't even do as well as my gameplay streams, and right now I really need the help with tips. So if you like this stream, please, if you can tip me, I would appreciate it. We just got a cheer. Bugsnax numero uno cheer again. He said, "We're being honest." Oh, here we go. Now he's talking about WWE champions. So he's a piece of shit. You piece of donkey shit. How about this? WWE champions. All right. WWE champion.
I don't know what he's gonna say next, but it don't matter. We have his balls to the fucking wall on that shit. Like, you can't explain that away. Excuse me. Before even the situation with Discord, before the phone number and whatnot that was linked to it, before any of that bullshit, there was enough evidence that painted him guilty, if you will. You know what I mean? But then when all of that other coinciding evidence came about, it was just like, it can only be you. No one is going to be in some fucking gay ops, fucking trolling like fucking operation and shit, right? That's going to fucking go that long and spend that much money to try to pin Darkside Phil for that dumb shit. It's not worth it. It's really not worth it. Anybody who would flush 5,000 to that, 1,000 to be honest with you, it's not worth it. It's just not worth playing to that. It's just not. It's not. You know what I'm saying? Unless you did it with the express point of shitting on Phil and then selling the account later, which that is a thing, by the way, and selling the account, it's just not worth it. It's certainly not worth it. So the only person it can be is Darkside Phil. And he might as well come out and admit it now because the bankruptcy has already been granted to him. They're not going to hit his ass. I mean, it wasn't like he went to court like he was being tried for anything. So double jeopardy doesn't even come into the conversation. But like, it's not like they can turn that shit around on him now. What's done is done when it comes to the bankruptcy. He might as well come out and say, yeah, I did this. Yeah, that's my account. Yes, that's what I do in my spare time. It is what it is. He's gonna eventually pig-splain it away anyway. What's going to happen? He's going to lose some pay pigs. What? There's there's half a dozen whales. He might lose 3 or 4 of them, but he's going to keep trotting along anyway. So who cares? Like, you know what I'm saying? Who cares? Like, it hurt. Like, him denying it only gives it more plausibility. He's only hurting himself, which is what Phil does anyway, to be honest. But there's not a goddamn thing that Phil can say to explain that away. Period. So the only thing he can do is hope and pray that people fuck it up on the opposite end to disprove it for him, and then he'll clinch onto that. We all saw that with the Escort Saga, despite the fact that whatever you think of the Escort Saga is up to you. You know what I'm saying? You have your rights like anybody else. But he was paying for some woman to come out and see him, and then eventually he ended up moving her in. Now, yes, are we on two different sides of the spectrum from the European escort, whose husband was her pimp, and Catherine in Michigan still living with her boyfriend while starting this relationship with Phil for months on end until she got moved in? Yeah, there's certainly a difference. There's a lot of shit that coincides as well, which is the reason, which only add to the believability of the Escort Saga in the beginning. But don't worry, that right there is a struggle against the grease. We'll talk about that further there. That's gonna be a long one, by the way. That's gonna be such a long fucking one. So much silly shit. But that's all he's looking for. He's looking for some type of kink, some type of chipping, some type of hole in the armor and whatnot to give him some type of deniable plausibility. And he doesn't have it. He does not have it. All he can keep saying is, I didn't do this, I didn't do this, I didn't do this. Then show us the account that says that you show your account. If you have one. If you don't have one, right, then the app's not there. You got nothing to worry about, right? Oh, that's right. They can track you on PC. So that means even if he did erase the app from his mobile phone, he could probably still play it on his desktop, right? Is that a thing? Is that plausible? Is that possible? And if that's the case, he's still fucked. But the thing is, though, we've seen his desktop, so we know it's not there. We know he uses Discord, and we know he uses Discord allegedly for his Twitch mods, because Twitch doesn't have a mod chat anymore, so he has to carry it over to Discord. And he uses it for WWE Champions. And then with all the different name changes, good for you, buddy. But on Discord, the 4-digit number that's assigned to you is you. Like, you can't change that. You can change your name, but you can't change that 4-digit number. And theoretically, he shouldn't have been able to change his name on WWE Champions, but they let him do it because he wails out the way he does. So he gets certain types of privileges, preferential treatment, if you will. Even more reason why he wouldn't want to give it up. That's the reason why he keeps fighting for it. That's why people keep saying, we got him dead the rights. Why don't he just give it up? He can't. He can't. It's literally the last bastion. It's the last place on the internet that he can still be considered a somebody. Even with the threats that people in that in those discords, or not discords, but in those guilds can be, hey, you guys will probably get doxxed if you guys associate with this guy. He's worth the risk because of the amount of money he throws out. And I've been saying that since this whole story broke. So nothing's changed as it pertains to that. Just something to think about moving forward. But there's nothing he can say that can make that go away. And he knows it.
Lives rent-free in your motherfucking head. I don't think about WWE champions. You do. You probably know way more about the fucking game than I ever will, because you're an idiot. You're an obsessed loser.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. And that changes what? And that means what? And that does what? It doesn't do anything. You didn't debunk shit. You're so lazy and caught dead the rights that all you can do is fling out insults that have no punch. It's literally a snort with nothing else. An empty snort, if you will. A phantom snort, if you will. There's nothing to that. He's so caught up that he can't even defend himself, which is usually what happens. And not just to him, but any other loyal cow too, who are usually caught dead the rights. If you followed Tevin when he used to do, hopefully he doesn't. He comes back to them. Does more streams on like Amberlynn or Chantel or whatever. Or even when he comes back to do more DSP shit. There are plenty of times where DSP gets caught dead the rights on that. Like any other loyal cow. And all they can do is fling out these empty insults. They don't have nearly the type of punch they used to. All that energy is gone. It's his only defense. It's his only defense. if it wasn't true, right? If it legitimately wasn't true, he would have put up a far better fight than you just saw. At the end of the day, the weak will always resort to what the weak know how to do best, and usually fling insults. It's the only thing they have.
Dire Sock says, does it feel weird doing clips from when you were younger? Even with the retrospective, not many jobs let you basically look back at your younger self. You know, it's, in my opinion, the retrospectives are very good because they give me a real perspective at who I used to be. And they allow me to see how I've grown, how I've changed. And I watch myself back from 10 years ago and I cringe just like you guys. I cringe at the stuff I used to do. I'm a very different person now. A very different person than the person I was 10 years ago. So many things. I've matured so much. My life has changed completely from the ground up.
This guy is 1,000,000% a pathological liar and a sociopath.
And, you know, I look at the stuff I used to do and get away with back then. I'm like, dude, I would never even fathom doing that kind of stuff in the modern day. Because I know better, you know. I've grown so much and I realize the things I say.
No. You didn't know better. You said what you got away with, which is basically what he used to say back when he was doing it in the first place, that he wasn't doing anything wrong and that he didn't understand why people used to fucking report him for shit when he wasn't doing anything wrong. He knew what he was doing, and the way he worded it kind of only expresses his guilt, to be honest. And he hasn't grown. You know what I'm saying? He's just gotten lazier. He's more stupid, to be honest, and he's more scared. Because all the things that made the King of Hate, he can't do anymore. So when you take away the persona, you take away the wrestling gimmicks, if you will, you know what I'm saying? What do you have left? You have Phil Burnell, who's just a resentful, lazy, stupid individual who believes that the world owes him something. Let's see if this is where I want it to be. Give me a second.
Completely from the ground up.
This guy is 1,000,000% a pathological liar and a sociopath.
And, you know, I look at the stuff I used to do and get away with back then. I'm like, dude, I would never even fathom doing that kind of stuff in the modern day. Because I know better, you know. I've grown so much.
Now, back to what I was saying. And he only knows better because look at the consequences. Like, look at where it brought him. And to be perfectly honest, which, I mean, the fact that he has to wear a shirt with his name on it kind of says it all. Excuse me, as it pertains to him being much more mature and he's better now and he knows better and so on and so forth, and how much better his life is and all that, it sounds like someone chanting to themselves to make them believe their own lie. And that's really what it comes across. And that's really the only thing he's trying to do to get over. That's the only thing he has now to get over is like, oh, I'm a better person than what I was. And that's why you can look at the retrospectives and all the times that these people bring this stuff up on me. It's stuff that happened years ago and I don't do anything like that now. You progressively gotten worse. The scams aren't nearly as entertaining anymore. Think about all the things that he used to do. He used to do the weekend preview. He used to do Hate Live. He used to do DSP Tries It. The DSP Tries It he has now is really more of like he should start doing mukbangs or mukbangs, to be honest. But that's all DSP Tries It ever was. It was just a mukbang or a mukbang of some type. All that stuff he has gotten rid of. He's gotten rid of all of it because he felt that none of it was profitable anymore, right? But look at what he does now. And remember, he was still putting out shitty gameplays at like 30 fucking videos a fucking day while still doing all of that extra shit, all the vlogging and all the other nonsense. He cut all of that shit out to do what he's doing now, and he has nothing to show for it. Not a goddamn thing. And his excuse for, oh, well, I can't go back to doing the edited content because this takes up so much of my time, and the edited content, me doing edited content won't do as well. Even though he says that the year that he did KO Gaming was an extremely successful year. But YouTube doesn't, but you know what I'm saying, the channel got blacklisted. That's what he was using as his excuse. Until DSPGAMING lost monetization. And then where did he go? He didn't go to the King of Hate vlogs. He went to KO Gaming. Which, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense because KO Gaming, even back then, this was 2018. Even back then was supposedly, end of 2017, 2018. Must have been 2018. KO Gaming was supposedly blacklisted. So why was that the first place you went? Why didn't you go to King of Hate Vlogs? Which, if I remember correctly, I think it may have had more subs at that time. Maybe. So why didn't he do that? Why would you run to a blacklisted channel to try to save yourself? Why didn't you just go to the Dark Side Phil YouTube channel, which still exists? He can still use it. Shit, he could probably get those the 2 copyright strikes that are on that channel waived off at this point. If not, when the new system was established, those probably don't even exist on that channel anymore. Now that I think about it, Actually, that's actually a pretty interesting point. Okay, quick backstory. So not so quick. When the reason why DSP Gaming even exists is because Dark Side Phil was taken down because of a false copyright strike. It was the Ubisoft one. He ends up getting it back because he sent the pay piggies out to essentially attack all these people, and they eventually were like, well, we didn't do this, but let him have his fucking YouTube channel back so all these kids and shit and these wheelchair symbols can get off our fucking back. And he got his channel back. But he had 2 existing copyright strikes still on the channel. So he went ahead and started the DSP family of channels to kind of offset that. That's why DSP Gaming exists, DSP Street Fighter exists, and I think it was still King of Hate Vlogs HD, I think. Because King of Hate, it might have been. Because King of Hate Vlogs HD is that channel that you can't really see videos on. He can see it, but no one else can. Unless people have already archived it. King of Hate Vlogs is obviously his vlogging channel. And anyway, that's the reason why those 3 channels really came to prominence and actually exist. Because of that. And that ended up leading into the monetization of gaming channel, when people could monetize their gaming content finally, and then he took all 3 of those to Machinima, with DSP Gaming being the flagship, DSP Street Fighter to be all things Street Fighter related, and then King of Hate HD, which I assume ended up becoming, then until he made King of Hate Vlogs, ended up basically taking place for that. But then, now I think about it, that doesn't even really make a whole lot of sense in itself, because Street Fighter 4 made DSP Gaming. Like, that's essentially what DSP Gaming was built off of. And the only reason why DSP Street Fighter essentially fell into the void, it still exists, you can still watch videos on it, but the reason why that went into the void is because he was coming up on allegedly on a contract negotiation, and he was mad that they wouldn't pay him the same amount of money for DSP Street Fighter as they were for DSP Gaming, even though DSP Gaming is essentially his variety channel that was bringing in all the views and everything, and had way more content because he was flooding it with like 50 videos a day. And he was mad that DSP Street Fighter wasn't getting that same type of contract. It was going to be less lucrative, but you were putting less content on it. So why would they pay you the same fucking amount? That sounds like some tard shit. And he was like, okay, well, if you guys aren't going to pay me that, then I'm just going to throw everything on the DSP Street Fighter, which onto DSP Gaming, which further clogged that channel up and led to essentially its fucking downfall. But all of that was over money. Like, all of that was over money. Just to give you an idea of what this idiot's business acumen was like. Instead of building up DSP Street Fighter as being your one-stop shop for all of his FGC stuff related, and build that into its own brand in itself, because you got to think in another year, maybe, that could have really been something big. But he didn't want to have to divert attention to 2 separate things at once, because Phil can't concentrate on 2 things at once. So he was like, oh, well, I'll just flood the channel with this, and then there you go, and I'll collect all my bucks off that, instead of building a second brand. Or, you know what I'm saying? He could have called it the Dark Side Phil FGC experience. He could have called it whatever. And that could have been literally, yet again, your one-stop shop for all things, not just fighting game footage, but all the vlogs and everything could have gone on there too. That was FGC related. So yet again, now the King of Hate Vlogs doesn't have to fucking get crowded with all that bullshit either. Like, there could have been a bunch of potential that came out of that shit, but this dumbass has no vision. So he fucked it all up. And then KO Gaming came years and years and years later. Wow. Oh, it's going to be fun to deep dive into some of that.
Realize the things I say and do have consequences. People can be hurt by the things I say on a stream. You know what I mean? And that's why I wouldn't go as far to do some of those things anymore. But it's always good to look back at the past. And here's why. I've always said this before. This is why I don't go back and I don't remove videos from my past that people make fun of me for, or quote, oh, Phil's a hypocrite because 10 years ago he said this. Yes, because we all know 10 years ago Phil's the same as modern Phil, right?
Yeah,
but,
actually, that's a very good point. Like, now, the whole song he did about rape, I haven't actually seen that, so I'm not sure. But there are a bunch of nonsense that is missing. If you go back to, what's the dude's name? Gamer Jay Lee. He actually pointed out that the one about the Nintendo, those little Nintendo figurines, I can't think of what the name is right now. That video is where Phil was shitting on that. That's missing, even though you can find an archive of it on, or at least of that segment, I should say, on an old Detractor channel. He's missing a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of stuff that's either privated or just outright deleted, just gone. Just into the fucking void. There is... Let's see if there's another particular video I can think of. I can't remember what the title of it is, though. But he had a video where he was shitting on... He was shitting on some fighting game. I don't remember what it was now. It's probably not even really important. It might have been like... It might have been like an anime type fighting game. It doesn't matter. But he was shitting hard on this game and shit, and he was getting some pushback in the comment section because I had seen screenshots of it. Maybe I should actually look for those screenshots now. But and he took a lot of shit for that. A lot of shit for that. He took a lot of heavy blows for that shit. And it wasn't too long after that video ended up disappearing too. And I would have to assume, and I said this before, when he started the whole retrospective bullshit, this whole retrospective marathon shit, that he uses the retrospective marathons to phase out videos that make him look really bad. I honestly think that's what he does. And I think he does it. He doesn't do it with a bunch of videos at once because it's going to draw too much attention. But I think if someone makes a recommendation for a video or a certain part that's in that video, he'll just disregard it altogether. Or if he really thinks that it's something that the detractors haven't brought up in a good amount of time, especially a couple years, he'll get rid of it before the rest of us can get our hands on it. I wouldn't be surprised by that. So he's really just using this whole retrospective shit as a filter. That's really all it is. That's really all it is. It's just the filter to try to get less and less stuff. You know, I mean, to mitigate the amount of stuff that can be used against them. And that shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody, to be honest with you. It really shouldn't. This is the same fucking tard who sits there and purposely sandbags playthroughs. So the guys who do This Is How You Don't Play will have a harder and harder time trying to get stuff out of it. You know what I'm saying? He's someone who personally dumbs down playthroughs and whatnot, and purposely will have these long segments of him not talking, right? Just so he can make This Is How You Don't Plays harder and harder to make. And it's funny because he says he doesn't give a shit about This Is How You Don't Plays anymore because supposedly they don't have the attention they used to and they don't have the viewership, but yet he's still going out of his way to hinder it. That seems weird. Contradicting, of course, but certainly weird. And then who knows? I mean, if you got this whole rape song shit here, who knows what other fucking just absolute disgusting shit is still out there? Who could say?
I purposely leave it there, and here's why. Simply because if you ignore the past, like it didn't happen, and you forget the past, you can't learn from it. If you forget that you made mistakes, you won't be reminded you made those mistakes and remember not to make them again. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's dangerous when I hear about people who say, oh, we want to forget about the real history of slavery and shit in the United States and pretend like it didn't happen and stuff. It's like, what are you talking about? No. We have to remember the fuck-ups. We have to remember the horrible things we did in our history, so that way you can improve as people and not commit the same kind of mistakes in the future. You have to remember the bad things you did so that you don't commit them again. You see?
Wait,
I
now,
leave.
this guy. This is the same guy who gets a lot of the bad shit he allegedly did thrown in his face all the time and denies that shit happens. Then that shit gets fucking spread around Kiwi Farms and on Twitter, and it's been taken out of context. It didn't happen that way. It's not being spun. It's being spun in a way to make me look bad, but that wasn't the situation back then. Until people go into that comment section of those old videos and find out, yeah, people really thought that shit was bad. It was out of place. You shouldn't have done it, and yet you did it anyway. You mean like that, Phil?
All that shit public because I want to see how bad I was, so I know not to be that person again. You understand? And I said, we gotta hide, we gotta remove these books from the reading list for kids, and we gotta do this and that. You're out of your mind. That's the shit should stay there forever, so that we know where we came from and we can be better. Or else you'll forget all about it.
So wait,
That's
so when the Escort saga was going on, and the Secret Life video was out there, the Snort Burnell video was out there, there's somebody else too. And their videos were out talking about it, and you were trying to get those videos taken down, right? Because it was slander, right? Even though you were paying to have a woman come see you, right? What was it then? That wasn't the Streisand effect? We weren't trying to hide shit? That wasn't a thing? That's okay, though. I remember. I'm sure most people remember. Pepper's Farm remembers.
On it. Anyway, so.
There's still this back here. And it's still in the back of my neck, the back of my head, the back of my mind, and it's always telling me it's WWE Champions time. I love it. I love it. Is a mobile game addict. Still has
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going into the last video of our broadcast. A very sad moment, as usual. But it's a thing. I'll see you guys in just a second. Oh, so hurtful.
See right now is going to be absolutely disgusting. Sound good?
Alright, sounds good to me.
There's still
I would hope so, because that intro played twice. My bad, that was buggy Paul mechanics. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we're here for the last video that will make up our broadcast. Brought to us by Snort Burnell, DSP. Over $60 in chargebacks. Tips well spent. Shitty animation detected. And, this sounds negative and salty. Fuck off if you don't believe me. This was published on February 3rd of 2021. The link will be down in the description. I could taste the salt at the end of that. That's gonna be good. That's gonna be good. A liar being mad that people don't believe them. Imagine that.
things from like the fall that can come back to bite me. Did you know you can charge back something up to 4 months after the fact. So we're talking like people in, you know, October who tipped could charge back at any time right now. And in particular, there were 2 tips in November that I didn't know were questionable. And they just hit me over the last day. And each one, you know, totaling them up between the 2 and the fees and shit associated with them, it's over $60. So today, I'm not...
I know, that sounds light to me. But what that also, ladies and gentlemen, should bring up, and I've talked about this briefly, is that that the vestry could have been a total scam, or not a scam, a total sham, if you think about it. Because let's say what Phil is saying is even remotely correct, and that you could charge back as, you know, as far back as 4 months. He had said that there were some chargebacks and some issues during the vest streak, but he didn't want to bring it up because it was going to go ahead and hurt morale. Or he at least hinted at it. The explanation that I just gave you is my assessment of it. With that being said, the vest streak could have been fraudulent as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Even before vest streak 73, where it officially ended, if I remember correctly. It's like 73. And then you go on from there all the way to when it actually finally died out. For all we know, that whole shit could have been just riddled with fucking chargebacks and whatnot. Not only during the vest streak itself, but certainly months after the vest streak actually expired. Just keep that in mind. Just keep that in mind.
Kidding. I'm starting negative $60 on the stream today. That's not a good feeling. That makes me feel like shit. That pisses me off. I did nothing wrong. This was a criminal who was using fake stolen credit card numbers to use fake tips over a course of 4 months, and it's going to come back to bite me over and over the next few months. It's bullshit. Okay? So, the good news is this should not really happen moving forward because I've prevented these fake tips from coming in. I screen my tips now, as you guys know, but the truth is...
But that's clearly not helping. That's the reason why you're still dealing with chargebacks, right? If people have... Now, keep in mind, he said 4 months ago, that was way before the verifying your account and shit and all that nonsense, right? But what it also shows is that back then, he said he had came up with some type of countermeasures to determine fake tips and whatever. And that clearly didn't work. And when you look back at some of those streams where he was getting between $70 and $80 at the very end of the stream, he's not going to verify that shit. He just took the money and ran. And it came back to bite his dumbass. So all those fees is definitely on him because you shouldn't have accepted money you didn't know where it came from. Especially when you know that you have a penchant of drawing people in who are going to do things like this. You did that to yourself. And all the safeguards and everything was bullshit. Because how many of those tips did he tell us, ladies and gentlemen, that, oh, I refunded it. Oh, it looks suspect. You know, so I just gave the money back. And in actuality, he probably tried to fight it behind the scenes. Well, he took the money. Because he, at that point, if he's refunding it willingly, he's not having to fight it. The money's just his until the chargeback comes in. If I'm thinking, and I think most people think, that he never refunded any of those people. And it doesn't matter how obvious the troll of a troll message it looked like or a troll tip, he never refunded them. He kept it. And I would say anything over $10, $15 definitely wasn't getting refunded back. That just cuts too close to the quick. He's definitely not doing that at all. So his greed is what's, you know, coming back and getting him. Or most of this chargeback shit is a lie. Do I think he's getting charged back? Sure. I think we all know this. But I would have to say, I'd say 60% of it sounds suspect. Clearly. And he has no evidence or no proof to back up anything he's saying. You guys remember what that is, right? Evidence, proof. You know, all the things that he asks for when allegations are brought to him. But he can never, you know, actually show any of it himself. It's amazing how stuff like that happens. Oh, well.
Because it could happen still at any time for the next couple of months. I could still get these chargebacks out of nowhere. And here I am. I'm in a situation where now I absolutely need as much support with tips as possible the next 2 weeks until I get paid by Twitch. So if you have a choice, oh, I'm going to sub, I'm going to cheer. No, please tip me if you can. I need the help via tips right now, all right?
That's not begging. That's business.
So I figured it'd be pretty counterproductive and pretty hypocritical for me to set up a subscriber's goal for this month, when in the first 2 weeks of the month, I absolutely need to focus in on raising tips. All right? That'd be pretty stupid of me, don't you think? So, that's why I'm not doing it. That's why there's no subscriber goal for this month. Okay? All right. Fair enough. So, for me, my first experience with dim sum I give it a thumbs up. It was crazy good, and I can't wait to have it again. In particular, those steamed buns, steamed pork buns, that shit was the bomb, as they say. Yummy.
That is absolutely disgusting. I love the red meat. All right. Cannibalism.
Wait, didn't he have dim sum with Panda though? Fuck. I feel like he had that with Panda though. All right, let me think about that at least slightly. I feel like he's had dim sum before that. Or it could have been just hot pots now that I think about it. When they were actually doing that when they were actually going out house hunting and he had those food vlogs. Yeah, you know what? That wasn't that. Now that I think about it. I don't know. He took out they did a lot of takeout too. Back in those early days too. He didn't vlog it, but he talked about it on the pre-streams. There'd be way too many to try to go back and try to find it. Especially for something so minute. That just goes into the worthless pieces of information vault. Alright, I'll give him that for right now.
Jaggly says Panda Express is pretty good. Are you out of your mind? Panda Express? That's an express trip to the toilet is what that is. That shit is fucking nasty. That shit sits... First of all, Panda Express is completely fake. It's all, like breaded, nasty, like, goopy, salty shit. They make it in a giant batch in the morning, and it sits under a fucking heat lamp all day. They wait for you to show up, and then they fucking scoop it out of this thing where it's been encrusted under a heat lamp, and they slather it into your fucking container, like a cafeteria food. Like, people will go to Panda Express and essentially pay... a lot of money for cafeteria food. Cafeteria quality. I just don't understand people. That's disgusting. Seriously. Yuck. Yeah, and by the way, I used to eat Panda Express when I worked at a mall. It used to be one of the better things at the mall for the mall food court food. It's still not good, though. It's bad.
Penne. Oh, penne pasta's great. I prefer penne because it's easier to eat. You gotta slurp it. It gets all over the sauce. When there's something to eat it properly. It's fun and delicious. You can eat it easily.
Okay, anyway. So, absolutely delicious. Dim sum. Thumbs up, my friends. Okay, also, my wife and I, since we were home, decided to do something different, and when I went grocery shopping, I grabbed some ingredients, and we actually baked a delicious blueberry, I guess technically it was supposed to be called like a blueberry crumble, or something like that. It was really good, though. It was like a ton of fresh blueberries with this topping, you know, breaded topping that was sweet. And you bake it in the oven, you mix it all up. It was very delicious. I love blueberries.
You went out and bought frozen cobbler, basically? I mean, it's not like she made it. Not like she took flour, brown sugar, regular sugar, and then everything else needed to make the crumb top, and then you guys actually cleaned and cut the blueberries and shit to put it all together. You just bought cobbler. That's all that was. You bought cobbler. All right, then. Whatever. Like, you've never had cobbler before? Like, what the fuck? And it's actually relatively easy to make, too, if you're willing to put the time in.
One of my favorite fruits. And you would have noticed, you know, many years ago, back when I actually used to post on Instagram, which I don't do anymore, because too many people harassed me on there, basically tried to micro-analyze my fucking life, and oh my god, did you see that thing in the background? That must be like a $4,000,
dildos
or something. So I stopped putting up Instagram pictures because people are pieces of shit. But back when I actually used to put up Instagram pictures, I used to show off whenever I got a batch of blueberries, because I really like blueberries. I think they're one of the tastiest fruits. They're also very healthy for you. In particular, they help with acidity, and I have issues with acid in my body. So they actually help out with that a lot. But yeah, having a blueberry crumble was absolutely good as well. Although, I was so bloated from the absolutely delicious dim sum that we had made that I could only have like 2 bites of it. So hopefully tonight, I'll be way less bloated and I'll be able to have some more of this blueberry crumble dessert that my wife made. It shocked me because a few years ago, she tried making this. And at that time, the recipe that we had, it had oats. You know how you buy Quaker oats or whatever? And we didn't have anything to, like, chop the oats up. So here we are trying to, like, hand grind the oats in a bowl, and it didn't really work. So when we made it, it was very dry. You're like, ugh, it didn't come out right. This time we didn't use oats at all. It was a different recipe. just basically with like flour and sugar and a few other ingredients, and it came out really good. Like, damn, that's fucking outstanding. So, too many blueberries could cause serious health issues. Yes, that's correct.
It doesn't sound like the oats were the problem. It sounds like you guys just put too much in it. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like you just put too much in it. I mean, keep in mind, though, ladies and gentlemen, these are the same people who fucked up a pre-cooked ham. A pre-cooked ham, these people screwed up. Something that's already cooked, right? And then vacuum sealed, put into your grocer's cooler, essentially. You can find it frozen, but you know what I mean. And then all you have to do is take it home and heat it back up. That's it. A pre-cooked smoked ham. As easy as it comes, and they still figured out a way to fuck it up. But I'm not done. This is the same group of people, ladies and gentlemen, who fucked up cooking food in a fucking air fryer. So, cooking isn't exactly a strong suit in the Burnell household. But keep in mind, though, when Catherine was initially advertised to us, because you know me, I'm already getting my clips and everything together for for looking back at the relationship, the early relationship of Phil and Catherine, he was calling this chick the second income. That's essentially what her worth was. Cooking, cleaning, second income, soulmate. I mean, mate. Soulmate. Mate. So with that being said, I mean, come on, man. Like, let's be honest. Like, and let's definitely keep it honest for this particular part. They just bought store-bought cobbler. Mrs. Smith's, Marie Calendar, they all make it. You know what I'm saying? There's some brand out there that makes cobbler. That's all it was. And they threw it in the oven or in the microwave.
Dookie, too much of anything can cause a serious health issue. Are you not aware? It's called moderation. You don't just sit there eating blueberries all day long. You will get sick. That is correct. That is absolutely correct. Genius level comment here.
Every single time.
I mean, coming from the same idiot who ate so much dim sum that he got bloated, take that for what you will, and could only eat 2 bites of cobbler. But moderation, though. Captain Obvious. Womp womp.
Now, I'm drunk.
Now, as I said earlier, right now, for the next 2 weeks, I am strapped for cash, alright? Being honest with all of you, I do need help with tips. And if that even means that normally you would be someone who cheers on the stream, normally you would subscribe to the channel, I would ask if you could tip me for the next 2 weeks. That would be much better. It would help me way more through a tough time until I get paid by Twitch, because I just had to drop so much money on bills and stuff. This would help me, and then we'll be back to normal. Alright? So just being matter of fact and honest with all of you, please, if you can, tip me. That is the preferred method of contribution. I get those tips right away. I can put them towards the bills I need to pay for the next 2 weeks.
Wow.
Until I finally
He's struggling at the end, too. You can hear it. But, ladies and gentlemen, this right here is very much a blast from the past. Because we heard this pretty much throughout the last 2 quarters of 2017. We heard this all through 2018, for the most part. I mean, give or take, a few months here or there. This is a thing. We're coming back full circle to where Phil is begging literally from the 16th of any month all the way up till the 15th of the following month, right? And then the process starts over and over and over again. That's what he had to do to help him with his tax situation. This tax situation ended up being actually moving Catherine from Michigan to Washington State, because he hasn't paid his taxes in fucking years, right? He said this exact same shit with the whole losing the house nonsense. And if the preferred method is to tip me. I need that money. I need it right away and whatnot. And it helps me with all the day-to-day stuff. And my Twitch paycheck goes to keeping my house and getting some of my legal stuff in order and so on and so forth. You guys have all heard all this. So literally in 2021, bankruptcy is wiped off the table. All that debt is wiped off. We're going back to this shit like it was 2017. And supposedly we had all these people with their hand out that he owed money to, and he didn't know where the next bill was going to come from, or where the money for the next bill was going to come from. Keep that in mind.
By Twitch, and then I'll be okay. I'll be in the clear. But I have to get to there. All right. So please, if you can, please tip me. All right.
This is literally the same shit word for word, except for help me save the house. This is literally the same shit word for word, except for save the house. Or later on, I'm trying to move my girlfriend in. Holy shit! Oh, it's gonna be a good time going back and looking over that, because they're, Jesus Christ, like Mr. Huff stuff, Snort Burnell. I think he goes by Rain now, but he used to go by Dipshit Phil R2. Has a bunch of videos from that era or that time period, that saga. That's gonna be fun to go back and watch. Yeah.
Every single person, oh, that's e-begging. That's not begging. That's advertisement.
Oh, that's actually nice. Snow Carl cheered and says, speaking about spending money, you see, there's, I guess, a content creator named Tyler, and he refunded a very large donation. He says he doesn't want people who make less than him spending money for recognition or shout-outs. Do you think he's as nice and humble as he seems? I don't know. I don't know the guy. But that's great. Let me put it this way. If you are a content creator who's making enough money...
That's not great for you, because, one, you make more than the majority of people who send you money. Two, the money that he refunds back doesn't mean it's going to go back into some other ecosystem of other streamers or whatnot outside of whoever this viewer enjoys watching. None of that money is going to trickle to you. So why would you be happy about that? Matter of fact, if you want to go further, and we already talked a little bit about Pokey early on in this, but Pokey has this thing now where you can't donate, more than $5 to her at a time? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's her choice. But then again, she's a multimillionaire. So she definitely outweighs most of the people who, send her money. I mean, there's a lot of big streamers that are starting to do that now. But then again, they're all in a position that they can do that. If he's thinking this is going to be trickled down economics, it's not going to happen. Not in the way he's thinking. Because those people have other people that they're associated with or other people that they promote that are smaller than them that more than likely will end up getting that money. It won't go to him. And yet again, he's still a hypocrite because he makes more than people who give him money. Or who he begs money from. However you want to word it. So, yeah. But let's hear his explanation now.
You don't need to rely on crowdfunding. More power to you to not accept those contributions. In fact, back in the day, when I was a full-time YouTuber, from the years of 2011 all the way through like 2015, I was not actively accepting anything outside maybe someone wanted to donate a game, or like some people sent me cookies and stuff from their native countries and shit like that. But I would not accept financial contributions. I told everyone, listen, I'm making good money.
Yeah, Snort Burnell is absolutely right. That is a lie. He's been accepting donations through PayPal since the beginning. All of his YouTube channels, back when they had the customizable pages, had his PayPal link on there. And if you go back, we talked about this video before. Actually, I'm sure I've used at least the clips of it on this channel. If you go back to the Modern Warfare 2 release and his 30,000 sub celebration, whatever video, it's about 9-10 minutes, if you will. He talks about all the big donations that he's been getting behind the scenes and basically advertise for people to give him more so he can continue to buy all the new games and everything. That was 2009. That was when he still had a job. You know what I mean? He was still working at the helicopter company at that time. He used actually a lot of that donation money to decorate his condo and do all that and to go on. And he had made plans for future donations to help him go to gaming conventions and things like that. So that's what he was using their money for. And then he would put that on his vlogging channel, which at that time was monetized, and keep reaping the rewards. He was essentially using their money to make money off them. Essentially. Which is probably not too much different from what a lot of people do, but you know what I mean? At the end of the day. So he's been accepting donations like that. And even in that video, he said a lot of the people who sent very, very generous, large donations don't want to be named. Well, you got to assume if people have been doing that for months on end, you would have think even in his days with Machinima, they still did. And if you think about all the stuff that he was doing back in those days, quote unquote, most people might have felt warranted to give him that type of money because it looked at everything that he was doing at the time. These days, no. But back then, when he had all these different series going on and he was doing all this and that, it might have made a little bit more sense. But I would assume a lot of that donation money, that faucet, started to close a little bit when he brought Panda into the mix. And there's various reasons for that.
I don't need anything from you guys, you know? I'm good to go. And it wasn't until later on when things fell apart on YouTube with ad revenue, and of course, false copyright strikes destroyed my ability to make money on my YouTube channel, and yada, 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 we're not going to get into it. But later on is when I started crowdfunding, because I had to make ends meet.
In 2017, the bottom fell out on YouTube. They lost most of their major advertisers, and it became completely impossible for someone like me to still make a living doing YouTube full time. So I said, I got to do something different and drastic. I changed myself. I evolved. I became a full-time beggar.
The truth is, if I made enough money on ad revenue, or if I had an exclusive partnership with Twitch to stream, and I made $1 million a year and all this shit, I would not accept contributions from you guys at all.
Fuck you. You're a liar.
I mean that wholeheartedly, 100%. I told you guys, this is about having fun together. This is about having a good time with games. This is not about making money. It's just not. It never was. That's why I did this for 2.5 years on YouTube and never made $1 doing it. Okay?
You're a liar, though. One, you couldn't do it. So it wasn't for the love of it. He couldn't do it. And more importantly, it was like in a Gouty sort of way. He was investing in his future in a lot of ways, because let me put out all this content. Let me basically set myself up as the person who he's going to play the new games on release. He's going to play them all the way through. He's going to play yada, 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 yada. Speaking of which, he used the money from donations to buy those games to do all that. And then when he can finally monetize his gaming content, he's going to be at least up there in the upper echelons of gaming YouTubers in that, in the search engine, because he'd been doing it so long. So let's not act like he was doing it for free out of the goodness of his heart. He couldn't. Secondly, he was making money while he was doing YouTube because he was monetizing his vlogs. The vlogging stuff he could monetize. He couldn't monetize the gaming stuff. So he could never ever say, I never made a dime off YouTube, when that's not true. If it wasn't for YouTube, he wouldn't have a platform to solicit donations to his PayPal. Womp womp.
The bottom line is, dude, stop it. Stop lying. You're so full of shit. You're so digging yourself even a deeper and deeper grave by lying. It's that, and of course, here's all the idiots who say, oh, I don't believe him. Well, you can go fuck yourself then. I mean that. Every single person in the chat right now who says they don't believe can go fuck themselves. Every one of you. And here's the truth. If you don't believe me, leave now. Just leave right now. Leave. Don't come back. You're not welcome.
Is LSB still working on that cult series? If he is, I don't know how many parts it's going to be, but there are instances of people like Jim Jones, not the rapper, or not the rapper, the cult leader. Was that coward piece of shit? Actually, I'll get back to that. But I'm talking about the cult leader though, not Jim Jones, the rapper. I'm you know what I'm saying? I enjoy some of his shit, but Jim Jones, David Koresh. There's a couple of guys who have had these type of outbursts too, where if you don't believe what they're saying, that they're the Messiah, or they are the Lamb of whatever, you can go ahead and you can leave. Leave now. You know what I'm saying? Because if not, there will be ramifications later on down the line. Like, it basically threaten people in their flock. And if a cult leader has to do that, usually get out when you can. Okay, so I mean, maybe he'll include that, maybe he won't. But, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully. At least as a point of example. Now, back to Jim Jones being a coward and shit. So, for any of you guys who know what happens at Jonestown, when it came to the situation with the punch, which was laced with all this different types of shit, essentially, that ended up killing people, not everybody was killed because they took the punch. There was a lot of people who just got shot, to be honest, and outside the few people who were able to hide. Anyway, Jim Jones wasn't even man enough to fucking take the punch. Someone had to shoot him. and whatnot. He wouldn't drink his own punch because he saw all those people, including his wife, by the way. He saw all these people take the punch and how they fell to the ground convulsing. Some of them went out quietly. It varies. And he was so scared of meeting his end in that way that he had to order somebody to shoot him. Now, this is really fucked up because his wife and all of their adopted children, his wife basically refused to take the punch until all of their children, outside of their oldest son, I believe, who's still alive, she basically she chose to, I should say, she wasn't forced. She basically made herself watch all of her adopted children, as well as the few of their regular children, die by poisoning before she took the punch herself. She wouldn't let. I think she may have done that to all the children. Now I think about it, she may have watched all the children pass away before she did. I can't exactly remember the details of that. I know all of her own children and adopted children all took the punch and passed away before she decided to take it. And she took it willingly at that point. She was quick to get it over with. But Jim Jones wouldn't. He was a coward till the very fucking end. To the very fucking end. And then he couldn't even take the shot to the chest like a man. I think someone had to shoot him. I think he ordered one of the guards to shoot him in the back of the head, but not tell him when the bullet was going to come so he could just get shot. I think David Koresh was another one. I think David Koresh ended up, if I remember correctly, that's when the fire broke out and everything. And essentially they ordered the followers to stay fighting but not leave. So they also basically burned alive. But he himself was so scared to be burned alive that he told one of his guys to shoot him too. Just throwing it out there. Okay, all seriousness and shit. And, I don't mean to. A lot of people die for no fucking reason. Just because you don't agree with what their beliefs are, don't mean they deserve to die the way they did. But the men who led them weren't even men at the end, or even in the beginning. It's not hard to sit there and fucking memorize fucking verses out of the Bible when you essentially have all day to do nothing. Sooner or later, you're going to be able to remember shit. And a lot of verses coincide with other verses anyway. So sooner than later, if you really put your mind to it, you're going to be able to get it done. And Jim Jones and David Koresh were very, very good at that. As well as other things. You could say they were extremely charismatic. You kind of have to get people to follow you. And so on and so forth. But they both crumbled just as fast. And when it came to the end, neither man could do what needed to be done. They were quick to order other people to do it, but they couldn't do it themselves. Does that sound like somebody else we know? Anybody? Anybody?
If you're going to sit here and say everything I say is a lie, go fuck yourself, leave. Don't come back ever. I don't need you here. You're a piece of garbage. Go fuck off. Okay.
You're a piece of garbage. Oh. You're a piece of garbage. God damn, Phil. Oh, I need to hear that again. I need to hear that again. God damn, piece of garbage. That's the type of stuff I say to you, Phil.
Everything I say is a lie. Go fuck yourself, leave. Don't come back ever. I don't need you here. You're a piece of garbage. Go fuck off. Okay. The taste on your lips, I want it all. A toxic, the slipping under. You know that you're toxic. Ow. Taste on your lips is paradise. But I know that you're toxic. Unleash the beast. Toxic. Oh. There's still this back here. And it's still in the back of my neck, the back of my head, the back of my mind, and it's always telling me it's WWE Champions time. I love it. I love it. Is a mobile game addict. Phil has indoctrinated children who send him money, blatantly milking for money. It's a money pit. It's gone, just gone like that. In an instant, fucking gone. I just care about money. That I just can't help it. I eBay. Contributions are mandatory. but I need your help. I am appealing directly to you. No decency, no respect, no common sense, no fucking maturity. Is the guy who just doesn't get reality.
Oh boy. Well, that's a hell of a way to start the month off. That is a hell of a way to start the month off. Wow. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Give me a minute to straighten up, and then we will reconvene for final thoughts. And I shall allow you guys to go ahead and continue on with your day. Not allow, but I can let you guys go on with your day. Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh, that's some hurtful shit. Piece of garbage. Goddamn, Phil. Stop watching my videos, man. You shouldn't talk like that. It's not very good. All right, guys. I'll see you in just a second. Holy shit. Oh my god, that was brutal. You know what I'm saying? For someone who's called Phil a piece of garbage on many of occasions, just to hear him say that to other people who give him money and shit and waste their time watching his fucking garbage content. And I can call it garbage content because my content's garbage. Jesus Christ. That's brutal. Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much to Snort Burnell. Very much appreciate it. Let's go ahead and do our rundown and go ahead and enjoy your days. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy your day and whatnot. Okay, so top 10 most disappointing games of 2020 is bullshit. That was bullshit because of the fact that most of those games got recycled, I should say, into his best games of 2020. And yet again, you being disappointed and yet them still making your best games list, I guess. I don't know. That lost. Not that his word held any value to me anyway, but that was lazy. It was just shitty writing, like Boruto. It's just really shitty writing. Poorly planned. Let's see here. The cult doesn't want more rage quits in Call of Duty. What the fuck is Penne sauce? Ungrateful pig roach. All of that shit coincides. And like I said, the fact that he didn't make at least a small joke about his wife when it comes to the Penne sauce thing was just a missed opportunity. Oh well, it is what it is. Getting destroyed in Gout of Duty. No sub goal for February probably makes sense because he's been stalling on Divinity Original Sin anyway. Bets with pennies are allowed. I don't know how that works in particular, but he got away with it, or he's getting away with it. So it is what it is. If he can figure out a way to make it profitable, and if he can skirt past it without Twitch catching him, then I guess it is what it is. I don't know. I need to look into it more to see what the details are. Extreme begging continues. It's just a normal day in life. And like I said a couple of broadcasts ago, his begging has actually increased since the fucking bankruptcy, which makes no fucking sense. It's wild how that happened. And there's no way he could have planned it that way, but it's wild that that's a situation. Top 10 best list. I don't give a fuck about any of that. I do not give a shit about that because I'm already done with that one. That was just really a lazy list. And I don't remove videos. We blatantly know that's a lie. And $60 in chargebacks. Who knows if any of that's even real or not? The tips well spent on food because why wouldn't it, right? Shitty animation. I guess that new one someone put as one of his inserts. And fuck off if you don't believe me. And calling them garbage. You're trash and I don't need you here. I mean, yet again, that's his frustration coming through. Like I said, that's something that you see in a lot of cult videos or documentaries and so on and so forth. The only thing, I think one of the few situations that I don't remember hearing that was with the Heaven's Gate situation. But then again, that dude was on the guy who was the leader, the one with the huge bulgy eyes and shit. He was on some next level shit anyway. If you guys haven't had a chance to read or watch a little bit about that, do so. Especially, I can't think of it now. I saw it on one of those apps I think it was like on Amazon Fire Stick or some shit. And it talked a little bit about like that guy's early life and so on and so forth, and before he actually found Heaven's Gate. Whoa, whoa! I wish Medicare had gone over something like that. That'd have been an interesting watch. In any case, he shows a lot of those tendencies, especially when he's lashing out. So I'm not surprised. And maybe, just maybe, people should take that as a hit. Get the fuck out now while you can. He's never gonna value you. He never valued you. He's not there to do so. You guys are nothing more than disposable commodities. And like I said, it's utilitarianism. The moment he gets what he wants out of you and you can't provide more of that, you're out. You know what I'm saying? Eventually you'll get phased out or he'll kick you out. Pure and simple. If he would stab Brightside Viking in the fucking back like he did and give that dude the Blood Angel treatment, he'll do it to anybody. And there was nobody that I can think of, not even KG, because even KG felt a certain type of way after the whole Project 7 scam. There was probably nobody who was as loyal to Darkside Phil as fucking Brightside Viking was. So, and like I said, if he can catch it, everybody can catch it. It's free snorts out here. Anybody want to come get it? All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. And I will see you guys for the next broadcast as we start our quest through February. Fun times to be had, right? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Snort Report. This is DSP News. Always late, never breaking, unreliable coverage that you can't count on. Oh, yes, a GTG Network of Productions. For DSP News, the Snort Report, and Snortbucks Coffee, I've been your host / anchor, GTG, and I'm signing off. Strap in, ladies and gentlemen. February is going to be interesting to go over. And take care of yourselves. Later, people.